Hello and welcome to episode 2 here of the MCU Crew. Jesse, did you get your coffee?
Not only did I get my coffee, but I got water as well. Let me tell you,
Oh,
if you're looking for a free life hack, if you're like stuck having to get coffee at say Starbucks, for example,
uh-huh.
ask for some water because that is like they got the ultra mega triple filtration up in there. It's free and it's so good.
Is it?
And you'll say to yourself, "But it's just water, dummy."
Yeah.
Is it though?
I
I
don't know.
thought that. I thought that, and then I was convinced to try it, and now I'm like, well, I'm gonna get my morning water. It's weird. It's a weird thing, but it's like, oh, did they quadruple, triple, reverse osmosis translation this? It's delicious.
Bronze, how do you feel about Starbucks water?
I actually think it tastes really good.
What the hell's
Yeah.
going on here? Starbucks water,
Yeah.
really? Is this
I'm
like
telling
some
you,
LA craze, Jesse? Are you trying to be hip?
No, it was people from other parts of the world who were saying to do it. I thought it was stupid. And I was like, why? You can get water anywhere. And they're like, trust me, if you're gonna be there anyway, just ask for some water.
Okay.
And so
Chat
I was on
has
it.
ratted on you. Apparently this is a Crendor thing.
Oh, this is a mega Crendor thing. But it was but Crendor said it first, and I was like, well, it can't be true. And then other people chimed in from literally all over the world, and they're like, bro, do it. So here we are. All this time later, I'm in the cult. So
All right.
that's how you become a flag smasher, I guess. It's just really slow rollout.
Yeah.
And then you're just part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. You really don't know what you're fighting for really 100% of the time, but you know you like that water, you know.
Yeah, you know that things were better before. And yeah, you just want to go back. And now I know that I can't go back. I got this water now and I'm in.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Before we get started, we do have, I think we're up on most podcast services right now. I know Google takes a little bit longer to like verify that you're a real podcaster. I don't know what their process is, but it's longer than all the others. I think we're up on Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. And I've seen a couple people leave reviews. So thank you guys for doing so.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. And the reception of the first episode was good, which is good because we do the show regardless if no one is watching, because I just like talking about the MCU.
That is one of the things I've learned is I just like talking about stuff. So
yeah.
I'm like, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go over kind of the rumors and tidbits of news, and then we'll jump into the episode 4, which I think was arguably the best episode, maybe not even arguably the best episode thus far in the season. A lot of crazy shit went down. Very excited to jump into it. But before that, we got to talk about the Zemo cut. Did you guys watch the full hour of the Zemo cut? I might have left it on, you know?
I left it on in the background for sure.
Yeah.
I just want to see like what would happen if anything weird would happen. I was just pleased that for once it was exactly what I expected.
Yes. 100%.
I was like, I mean, there is a reason why they cut 99.9% of this out, but I'm glad they kept it going. I'm glad they were like, just roll, just go.
Now, here's the question. Do you think Daniel Bruhl is a bad dancer or a good actor? Or both?
I'm going to say...
Bronze is in both. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I fall into the same category of white guy as him. I'm going to say great actor in the hopes that there's still hope for me when it comes to dancing.
Okay.
And when I pull out the like, it's
I mean, that's kind of
that's
the quintessential white guy dance, right? Like that's what that was.
Oof.
The director was probably like, hey,
like
dance
this.
like a white guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I can do that.
It's like, okay, I'll do that. Yeah.
He knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that Marvel fed into the silliness of the fandom and just put that out there. Because like that was the release, the Zemo cut was trending. It's like a goof, and Marvel's like, all right, all right, let's put it out there. Fuck you guys. We're going to do it. It's great. It's great. If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
All that did was let me know that there are countless hours of other footage that we've never seen. Because if they're going to record all this time of him dancing just for like, just in case, then come on now. There's got to be all this other footage that we need to see.
Yeah.
So
there's probably
a scene.
There's probably like giant story focused scenes that they had to reshoot, right? Probably even for this show. because like the show, like as we were talking about, the rumor was that it was based around releasing a global pandemic, and then COVID happened, so they couldn't do that. So I'm sure there's, multiple scenes, which probably adds to the idea that a lot of the times the flag smashers don't. Maybe this is me. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like they don't necessarily have a great motive or a very clear motive. They're just kind of like, yeah, we're mad because all these people came back and took our houses and our jobs.
We're smashing shit.
Yeah.
Admittedly, after the last episode when they described like, yeah, it sucks being displaced. I was like, yeah, I can see how they want to like blow a thing up. I get why they'd be mad.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I might be one of them. I might be a little like,
You'd be a flag smasher.
Blood. Oh, I mean, like it's like the opposite. It's on the opposite side of the coin that Captain America's on. We'll talk about that, obviously, but like their motives are very like we're just trying to do good, but like it's a great villain thing where it's like we're doing the right thing. It's like yeah, but like, are you?
I don't agree at all.
Oh,
interesting.
Drama and intrigue has struck the MCU crew. We'll talk about
Looks like me and Jesse are getting our 5th divorce.
Yep. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's fine.
I'm still holding out for the 6th. I think we get like bronze, like we get like little figurines or something fun. What is the 6th divorce? Is it paper? I don't know.
I think that's paper. Yeah. And the divorces, it gets worse as it goes along, whereas in marriages it gets better. So paper is probably accurate. Yeah. That's probably the 6th one. Anyways, what else do we got going on? Did you guys see Loki on the cover of Empire magazine? Look at him
great.
Look at this. This is not fair. I am upset at how good this man looks on this cover of Empire magazine. It's bullshit.
He does have like a great body for suits, right?
He does.
Like I've seen him in other clothes, and it's like whatever. You put this man in a suit, and it's like, oh, my dude.
Widow's Peak havers rejoice because you can have one and still be attractive, and Tom Hiddleston is proof.
Wait, is that a Widow's Peak?
Oh,
you can have one and still be attractive.
I thought a Widow's Peak was like right here in the center. Is that?
Oh, I don't know. Because isn't it just like when you have like a part of your hair come forward and the other part come back? Maybe I am misunderstanding a Widow's Peak.
I'm going to Google. What is a Widow's Peak?
Because he's got the the sweep back and then the front, he's
got like a cowlick thing going on in the front too, but
a little bit. According to Google, a widow's peak is a distinctive V-shaped hairline that tends to run in families. Despite the myth, it's probably no more significant than other genetic traits, such as curly hair and cleft chin. Yeah.
Well, his isn't pointed, so.
Well, we've also got some side shots here, and I think it's hairs. He might have it.
He might have it.
Yeah.
I mean,
we'd have to look at some other photos.
I'm just pointing out he's got a lot of real estate, like right here. Like you could fit a whole hand there, and yet still very attractive.
It's true. He does have a massive forehead. That is accurate. And now I can't unsee that. Damn it, Bronze.
Whole hand. I'm sorry.
Damn it. Look how big his forehead is. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah. No. Now I'm looking at it.
You should rent that out in LA, man. That's prime real estate. Holy Jesus Christ.
I think, all right, I'm going to say, from photo 1 to 2, I feel like they did some editing because the head on photo 1 is like Brainiac size. And then like the head on number 2 is a little bit smaller. All I'm saying is I feel like camera lenses. It's in you know what? Before I was like, this is a beautiful man, and now he's been brought back down to earth. And I feel great about myself.
Bronze is ruined.
So good.
Tom Hiddleston is ruined.
No, he's still attractive. I was trying.
Feeling good.
My
Feeling
God.
so much better about myself now. Like, yeah,
I'm sorry,
take
big
that.
forehead community. I was trying to help you.
Oh my God.
Too late.
Well, on to something else after that. Jesus, I can't have Loki sully our show anymore with his hideous forehead.
I'm so sorry.
It's insane. Jeez. Catherine Hahn told people.com that she is, quote, absolutely, end quote, open to returning as Agatha Harkness in the MCU. However, she has, quote, no idea if she will ever return the role and says that Marvel runs a real tight ship. She'll be back, right? Like that Marvel's pretty good about bringing back their C and B tier characters. Look, if fucking, Beltrek the Leopard, what's his name? The MMA fighter. Help me out here.
What?
Who's playing Baltrock in Winter Soldier and GSP? There you go. George St. Pierre. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you guys watch UFC at all? If he got brought back for Falcon and the Winter Soldier in the first episode. That was the guy that was in the helicopter. The bad guy.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
if they brought him back,
took me a second.
you got to think Catherine Hahn comes back, right? You got to think that she shows back up.
Universe, sure.
Yeah. Maybe for Doctor Strange or something. Maybe.
But she's like trapped.
Yeah.
So
true.
unless something happens that knocks her out of her stupor, I feel like they did a thing that Marvel does very, very well where they're like, put this character on the back burner, and if we need them, we'll call upon them once again, but do not kill them. Right? It's a thing they do, so I'm fine with that. I think that's neat.
Yeah. I think she was, for my interest, one of the best parts of WandaVision, for sure. And I think the scenes that she was in, she stole most of them, so.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
She had really great screen presence.
Yeah. So I hope she comes back in full force in one way. I just don't know, like, you can't throw Agatha Harkness in, like, I mean, I guess you could, but you can't throw it in, like, the next Ant-Man, right? Like, she can't just pop up in Ant-Man.
Although, if that's what happened, it would be the most Ant-Man thing, yeah.
It's true.
Be like,
yeah,
Ant-Man and a witch? Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Maybe in, like, the next Doctor Strange or something like that. Maybe. You never know. I feel like
they'll wait until, like, we're not expecting it and then maybe put her in when we're like, what? Because Marvel does love having the, like, you didn't think we would and then we did because we're Marvel.
Yeah. That's very true. That's how Marvel sounds, by the way. Voice of Marvel.
Because we're Marvel.
Because we're Marvel.
Because guys are Marvel.
Jesus. What else is out there? Oscar Isaac was training on Instagram for some Moon Knight combat. I forgot that Oscar Knight was going to be Moon Knight, and it was pretty good. I think.
Oscar Knight
looks pretty good.
The hair going on. He's got some like strong White Wolf energy, like very, Geralt kind of like. I love it. Love this look.
Now I'm realizing what a good Cable he would make.
I feel like he's not tall enough or like bulky enough for Cable. You need like a rock build for Cable, don't you? Well, wait.
I forget he's kind of short, isn't he? Isn't he like 5'9"?
He is a little bit short. Also, Cable was Thanos, wasn't he? Josh Brolin was Cable in Deadpool, right?
Oh my God, I forgot. He was both.
Is that canon?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's
he was
canon.
Both. Wait, but that can't.
I mean, they even make the joke in Deadpool. They
acknowledge it's the same actor. Yeah. It's so Deadpool occupies such a weird space.
It does.
Because it's like it's a fourth wall breaking comic, and therefore it's a fourth wall breaking, movie. So I actually totally forgot that he was like that we had Cable, and that it's the same actor.
It is the same. Yeah. I mean, like Cable has to show up at some point, right? Or is that a Phase 5 thing? Do you think they have to let it go for a while before they bring it back up?
Because there has to be like a whole X-verse going on.
Yeah,
that's never gonna
X-Men before.
That's never gonna cross into normal Marvel. It's only gonna be a Deadpool thing for at least the foreseeable future, right? There's no way they'd be like, and this guy who was also another guy is now back to talk to everyone. Like, there was no way that would happen in a million years. They'd be like, it would confuse children.
It would.
Yeah. I mean, Deadpool 3, I think, has been confirmed to be in the MCU, hasn't it? Like,
it's coming.
That's going to be a weird.
It's on the timeline.
In all the things that, that's going to be weird in Marvel. That might be the weirdest in terms of how they bring that into the fold.
What if Deadpool is how they bring the X-Men into Marvel?
That'd be real dumb, but it would make a lot of sense.
Yes, like they could just get away with it.
Yeah.
Like Deadpool creates the X-Men universe in Marvel would be the most Deadpool story ever.
Yeah.
I mean, the upside of that would be, I think Deadpool is the first time X-Men have gotten good costuming. I know that sounds really random, but I
Yeah.
hated all of the costuming, like the suits and everything for every single X-Men film.
It was just
And
leather.
Deadpool,
It was like
yeah,
leather, the suits. That's
yeah,
it.
it looked so terrible. And then I feel like X-Men was in Deadpool was the first time when I saw Negasonic, like with the high collar, with the X. I was like, whoa!
And
It
Colossus
finally
looked good too.
Colossus looked good too. Colossus is so wholesome.
He's pretty wholesome.
Just want to give him a hug. Love that guy.
I'm always off put by his accent, but I guess he would have an accent, right? Like
A terrible accent, yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I guess that kind of makes the character in a lot of ways. I had forgotten that Oscar Isaac was going to be Moon Knight. How do we feel about that? I love Oscar Isaac. I have not read that much or really any at all Moon Knight. I know he's basically a crazy multiple personality Batman. So I'm excited for that. I know it's also like a pretty rated R/dark comic. So I don't know how they're going to do that. Cause I think Feige's been out there saying that Deadpool's going to be the only rated R property in the MCU, but yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how you can do Moon Knight without getting at least a little violent.
Yeah, it's pretty gruesome, I think, in most of the scenes or most of the stills that I've seen in the comic.
Well, even in the choreography there, if I'm not mistaken, like he slit someone's throat.
Yeah,
well, he does multiple knife wounds to people in that. For those who were listening, we were watching it play live. Yeah. He's jumping around and stabbing guys, and he does slash a throat. He goes crazy. It looks awesome. I don't know how you make any of that like PG-13.
It's
is like,
wide.
Does he swear while he does it? Like,
yeah.
What?
How many F-bombs does he drop?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I didn't think about how many, or what constitutes PG-13.
Yeah. The difference between PG-13 and R is ridiculous. It's like, well, you're allowed to say, shit, but that's it. Like, like crazy things. Like, or I think you're allowed one F-bomb in a PG-13 movie.
I think that's accurate. Really weird stuff on the ratings board. Always has.
Yeah,
been.
It's very strange.
Yeah. Always a little bit weird. But yeah, I guess we'll see the Moon Knight. That's if they're training, they got to start shooting that here probably in the next year or so. One would reckon, but we'll be in definitely. I think that might be like I always wonder when the MCU is going to be like tested and or fuck something up. So far they haven't really. After after like Iron Man 1, they kind of hit most of the stuff out of the park. I guess Thor might have an argument there in terms of being a little bit, the first Thor that is, in terms of being a little bit of a letdown. But yeah, that one will be a hard story to tell.
I wonder, I would like to challenge this thesis. I wonder if fans weren't very, very forgiving, because some of those first movies are like not great. But I feel like because the characters of Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, right, Hulk, like the original the original Avengers team is so popular and so well loved that people were like on board to see what adventures they get into because they're just excited to be there.
True.
I'm curious if that same love extends to some of the lesser known. Like, I don't know how many people out there are like, Moon Knight, hell yes.
People are pretty
of course
stoked
there
when
are
that got
some
announced, yeah.
Yeah, but like the vast majority of people, there is no, when you're young, you don't walk around seeing a Moon Knight shirt at Walmart. You'll always see Captain America shirts. You'll always see that.
Their parents,
So,
kids' parents aren't. Moon Knight figures are not going to be flying off the shelf, right? Like,
yeah,
parents are going to be like, here you go, Timmy, enjoy the multiple personality, like depressive, psychotic character, Moon Knight, your favorite. You love him. He's great.
But they have the opportunity, I think, to create that fandom now. Like, that's what this next phase of Marvel is about, like introductions to new stuff and new concepts. And I feel like this will be when they're tested.
Yeah.
When they're like, okay, we've been through 10 years of Marvel, and now we're going to open multiverse stuff and have new, weirder, crazier heroes. And we're going to talk about, like, gods in the Marvel universe more and just crazy. I can't wait to see what happens now, because this is when it gets to what
Weird.
Marvel actually is. Like we've been in like Marvel
Yeah.
light for a decade. This is what Marvel really is now. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. It's also the type of thing too where Moon Knight will be a show on Disney Plus and not a movie, and so that might be a different audience. I feel like at least with WandaVision and Falcon, they are kind of skewing towards an older audience with the content that they put in those shows. WandaVision specifically, like, I don't know anyone under like 15 or 14 that watched that was like, this is great. I love They watched the first 3 episodes. They were like, when is shit gonna happen? What is going on in this show? And Falcon.
No, I find these themes of loss really compelling as a 12-year-old. I think I can really relate. What is grief if not love persevering?
Yeah, that's what all the 12-year-olds are into.
Yeah. It's a very tween concept. Yeah.
Indeed. So that might be kind of what they're going for with the Disney Plus stuff. Although they are kind of, I think if you look at like Miss Marvel, that will definitely be a younger demographic target audience for that show. So it'll have a little bit for everyone, it seems, but we'll see with Moon Knight. Russell Crowe was added to Thor: Love and Thunder. They did not release what he will be playing. It could just be a cameo, or it could be a much larger role. They're not really talking about it. He joins the already stacked cast of Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, and Christian Bale as, of course, the villain Gorr. Matt Damon has also said that he will be coming back in some form, so most likely as another goof, which I'm super into. But
I would love it if the goof was like all these other celebrities, like the previous goof.
Yeah,
I think that'd be fantastic.
I agree. I think that
like
would
that
be...
acting troupe was still alive in like the new town, and they were just like the acting troupe was still there. I think that'd be very funny.
He could be, I mean, Russell Crowe could do a lot of things. It depends where they want to go with the story, right? He could be a younger Odin. He could be an older Thor. If they're going with like the classic Gorr,
I mean,
the classic Gorr storyline, he could be the older Thor.
Okay.
And like, I don't know how they're going to tell that story. I really don't know how you tell the God Butcher story in movie form. Like it spans across so much time that I don't know how, if that's a one and done deal and Christian Bale does not return as Gorr because he's gone, what does that movie look like? Are they just skipping around in time? Do they just go crazy with it, or do they keep it grounded? Also, Natalie Portman is becoming Thor in that movie at some point. She is bulked the fuck up. So
they're trying to achieve a lot with one film.
Yeah. When does this release? Is this after we start getting into like all the different gods of the Marvel universe?
I forgot the release date. The release date is February 11th, 2022. So yes, the Eternals will already be out. Yeah, a lot of stuff will already be out.
I guess because Eternals exists, they can have the setup for sort of like why Gorr would be kind of pissed, and then go from there and show, like, they'd have to show a dude butchering gods, right? They have to backstory this enough that this guy is like super pissed, and give you the sort of Thanos side of things of explaining why. Like, we need that movie where it's like, here's a bunch of scenes with this character so you understand why or else he becomes or else he becomes like every other Thor villain for the last bunch of Thor movies, where it's like, well, they're in it.
Well,
but like, you know.
And the other thing too, Bronze, you're probably the best one to talk about this because you most likely have read the comics much more than me and Jesse have on this. But my understanding is that like Gorr's motivation is not necessarily because of Thor, but it's just the fact that like he had such a shitty life and such a shitty start at it because of the gods that he just wants to get rid of all of them, right?
Yeah, from my understanding, because that's like what? That's like Earth 616 stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like Thor comics are one of my weak points, but I don't think it's ever personal.
Right, he's just doing it because they're a god.
Personal.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just doesn't like gods.
Yeah.
But that's also a very Zemos. Like, that's a Zemos quality.
A little bit.
Right?
It's a little Zemo.
Where he's like, you shouldn't exist. Like that kind of thing.
It's the quality
they've already done it.
Like, extremist, right? Where you just think all of this shouldn't exist. Like it's an extremist mentality, which is why Gorr is not like a hero, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
Yeah. I don't know how they're gonna do that. I know obviously Christian Bale will probably act the fuck out of it, which is very exciting. And hopefully we get some more like Batman grunts. That'll be very good. Uh, but yeah, they're trying to do a lot with that movie, and I really am curious how they can pull that off. Because that is a hard story to tell. Because it doesn't have, like Bron said, it doesn't have much to, at least in the comics. Granted, they have a creative license; they can change it to whatever they want to fit the MCU. But like, it doesn't have much with Gorr hating Thor. It has Gorr hating gods. So
from what I remember, it's basically like a lot of it focuses on his character, which, like you said, is going to be difficult to do in a movie.
Yeah.
And all this hardship he endures. And there's almost a Conan the Barbarian-esque moment where he's like, Crom, if you help me, then, good. But if you don't, then to hell with you. And I always thought Schwarzenegger would be a great Gorr because of that scene from Conan. So he has this, like, his entire life sucks. And then somebody important to him dies, and I forget that character. I'm sorry. Somebody in chat will know.
Son, maybe?
Yeah, family member,
somebody he's like very attached to. I thought it was like a brother. It could be a son. Dies, and he prays to the like gods, and is like, but that person still dies. And after that, he's like, the gods are shit. So I'm just gonna go kill all of them because they've done nothing for me. So if you don't do a good job on the first part of that, which is like, man, life has really taken a dump on this guy. It's hard to carry the audience with him, and kind of root for him. And like, I can understand why this guy hates gods. But the important thing with Gorr is when he starts out, he kills a lot of crappy gods.
Right.
Isn't it like one of them causes plagues? It's like a god of like death, a god of fear, god of like things that you're like, oh, I would kill that god too.
Yeah, fuck.
But then
that
he
god.
starts going into like the god of harvest and agriculture, and you're like, wait, why this guy?
Yeah.
It goes like south pretty quickly.
He just goes crazy. Someone in chat brings up a point. Slevin Razor says, do you think they'll mention or introduce the all black at all? The symbiote that is infused with Gorr that kind of gives him his power to kill the gods. Does that, he's got to have some sort of power, right? Like, he can't just go out there killing gods because he's immortal. He's got to have the power. Again, that's a lot to introduce.
So much more.
Yeah,
because isn't that also his weapon?
Yeah.
Isn't it like becomes? I don't remember if he has a sword or if it like becomes the sword.
It's all black. The necro sword is the item essentially. Also,
I don't know how they do all this. I don't know how they do it all. I don't know how they pull it off. It feels like it's going to end up being Dark Elves all over again. Like, that's my worry. They were going to be like the Dark Elves. We're like, there's so much to work with there, and they were like, yeah, no, they're bad, and they want things dark. The end. Period. That's all the story that mattered.
Yeah.
You're like, what? No. Yeah. I don't know.
Do they have the rights to use the word symbiote?
That's a good point. Sony might still have that shit on lockdown. They very well could.
What if they just say like all of his hatred and self-loathing created this amorphous gunk?
That is the MCU version of symbiote, amorphous gunk. Yeah.
Well, what if they Ghostbusters to it? Like, people's hatred is feeding it, and they just do that with the Necrosaur.
There is some trust that I have, at least in Taika, to like handle that with both nerd love and also making fun of it at the same time, to where it's not a big deal, right? Where he could say like, oh yeah, this is all about hatred, blah blah blah. Then he'll crack a joke, and you're like, all right, come on, this is great, let's move forward. But yeah, that'll be a weird movie. There's a lot that could potentially go on there. I want to say that I saw a headline talking about the fact that it would be a long movie as well. And I think it would just have to be at this point. Cause there's so much shit going on, with the villain of Gorr. We mentioned Natalie Portman. This is a photo from her on set. She's been hulking out. She's swole as fuck. She's getting buff. And it's already been talked about the fact that she'll be playing some sense of the Lady Thor. So a lot going on. Maybe Gorr kills Thor or something and she has to take over. I don't even know like why in the comics does Lady Thor happen? Bronze, do you know off the top of your head?
She has cancer.
What?
She has cancer. And it's actually like the Jane Foster Thors are really intense because basically when she does not summon like the Thor power, she's like actively dying.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's really intense. So if you like, I want to put that trigger warning on it. If you've ever dealt with a loss from cancer stuff, those comics are a tough read. Cause I'm tearing up, remember it, because I've definitely dealt with that. And so it's like every time she's not actively in Thor mode, she is in a hospital bed dying. So that it's like I recommend it, but I'm also like it's just a lot. If you have had any experience with that, it's a really heavy comic. But I think that also gives weight to like why she's such a good Thor, if that makes sense, because I think like I don't know how to put it into words. I think they do a really good job like giving her like very pure motivations and making her her own amazing Thor in her own right alongside like Odin's son, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to bring that into the MCU. That's like a question I've kind of been asking myself is like, well, is she going to have cancer in the movies or are they going to put that aside? And if they do, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Right.
I don't know.
It would be kind of like it would suck if she's like, "Hey, Jane's back. By the way, I've got cancer." So like, I don't know how you introduce that.
I wonder if Disney would, like do the Disneyified version, which is the interaction with the goop that was inside of her in the one movie in Dark World.
The
like
reality
like
stone
was a sickness. Yeah, so like the reality stone, like she has a sickness that's like it's indeterminate what this sickness is. That way they don't have to like bring the real world depression of like, oh, cancer sucks. Like instead they can marvelize it and be like, well, it's a magic disease and only Jane has it. Like that kind of thing. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, someone chat brought up a good point that they did do that with Star-Lord. The thing with Jane is that it's like prolonged because basically every time she turns into Thor, right, or activates like the Thor power, when she comes back to her human form, she's in a worse condition because something about this is the part I get fascinated. Something about activating the Thor power, like it undoes her chemotherapy. So like she's not actively undergoing treatment while she's Thor or whatever. And then when she comes back, she's actually worse. So being Thor makes her strong, but also actively kills her.
Gotcha. Again, so there's like, a lot going on in
sacrifice.
This movie.
Yeah, there's like a real sacrifice there, which is why the decisions she makes as Thor are like she's a little bit more almost like righteous than Odin's son is because she's actively killing herself to do good in the form of Thor.
Sure. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
I heard that question too where it's like, well, if being Thor makes her not have cancer, why isn't she just Thor all the time? And it's like, well,
because Thor's got to be Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think we come out of this movie and there's like multiple Thors? Or is there like, can there only be one Thor? Or do we get like, do you think we're so far along in phase 4? I didn't mean for that to sound as silly as it does. That they're just like, oh yeah, no, we're going to have multiple Thors. That's fine. Multiverse exists.
I think they will drop hints, but I don't think we'll be there yet. I feel like this is them dipping toes in the water to see what sort of the vibe is about like, no, there's like 80 Thors. Like, okay, sure. I have no clue.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, that's 2022, so like I said, Eternals will be out. Black Widow obviously will be out. What is the other big movie? Guardians, I think, is next summer.
Guardians is after this movie.
Yeah.
But the Guardians holiday special, I think, is before. I don't know. I have no
I think the Guardians holiday special they said will lead into the next Guardians, which James Gunn, I think that was the next bit of news, the last bit of news. James Gunn confirms that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will start filming later this year. Someone in chat saying that Guardians is 2023, so maybe that's holiday then 2022 for that holiday special. Yeah.
I don't think having multiple is a bad thing, because I think one of the issues I have with the comics sometimes is that they kind of make it seem like in order to have a Jane Foster Thor, granted this wasn't the case, but like in order to have that, then we can't have, Odin's son, which I would like to set the precedent. I would like the MCU to set the precedent. Like, no. We can have Jane Foster Thor and we can still have Hemsworth doing the Hemsworth thing. Like, one does not have to replace the other.
Right.
Just like, because I feel like that's like a really important, stance to take in some ways, because I think sometimes people don't understand that, like, just because one version of a character exists doesn't mean that another one doesn't. Miles Morales can 100% exist alongside Peter Parker, and introducing one does not immediately have to remove the other.
Right.
Now, we'll see what they do with Hawkeye in that regard too, because Kate Bishop, I think, is a great Hawkeye, but we'll see. Because didn't Jeremy Renner get into some negative press recently?
Oh, he did? I didn't know that.
He does frequently. Yeah, the internet not a fan of Renner.
Oh.
The internet's not a fan of Renner, and they're saying like he should be recast. And
wow,
so I'm like,
I
well,
didn't see that.
In his case, we might get a Kate Bishop instead.
I mean, it makes sense. That's the, even in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we had the next Falcon appear, right? In like the first episode, as kind of like the Falcon's buddy, or military, like in training, rank below type person. So there might be something like that. As Reggie points out in chat, they're potentially setting up Young Avengers and Thunderbolts as well. But we'll get to that here when we start discussing the actual show, or episode 4, I should say. The last rumor, or the first and last rumor, I guess, for this week, Captain Marvel 2 reportedly begins filming next week. The working title was revealed to be Goat Rodeo for production, which everyone previously thought was going to be Ant-Man 3. So that is, if we take a look at the calendar, I think that this is the most updated one. This is everything planned up till a certain point, at least has dates. So yeah, Captain Marvel 2 has the release date of November 11th, 2022. So that makes sense for them to start filming here pretty soon. Thor is already filming and has been filming, for some time now. Jesus, my dog's going crazy this morning. So I guess that makes sense for them to start filming a little bit before Ant-Man. Ant-Man will probably follow sometime this summer, I would reckon. I think Ant-Man also films out of, I think they mostly film in Georgia for all of their stuff. So that makes sense. Ollie, what do you want?
I can't even, like, looking at this schedule is crazy. There's so many movies coming out in
There's a lot.
The next 3 years. All I'm saying is, I understand why they would want to bring on younger people, because we're talking a 10-year arc, right? We're going to end up 10 years from now someplace totally different if what they want to happen happens.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you got to have people that can still be in it 10 years from now.
Right.
It's gonna be,
well, they're introducing new actors. Like She-Hulk is, I have a terrible time pronouncing her name. Tatiana something or other. She was in Black Orphan, which is, and if you've never seen that show, watch 2 or 3 episodes, because she basically plays every character in it. And I'm not making, she plays like 7 or 8 different characters, and they're all vastly different, and she's very, very good in that. So I'm very excited to see her in She-Hulk.
The schedule is great. I love everything about this.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and some of this might be outdated. I think there's also, someone sent it to us after last week's show, all the way up until the end of the year, every single week there's something else coming out, whether it's a new episode, whether it's a movie, whether it's a making of, there's always something new. talk about. So yeah, we've got a busy couple of years.
Shang-Chi and Blade.
Blade though is not going to be rated R. Did you see that? It's going to be a PG-13.
It's not?
It's going to be a PG-13 Blade.
Wait. I think that's because vampires turn to dust when you slice them up. I think that might be because there's like they don't have to do gore to have him like slicing and dicing.
They better
and maybe it's just a swear word thing.
Maybe. It'll be.
I feel like with vampire stuff, you have that like weird space where slaughtering them to pieces doesn't. It's not like a viscera parade, right? Like you can like cut off their hands and it just like turns to dust and stuff like that. So it could be something along those lines where he's out here just slicing and dicing fools, but it's just dust, which allows them to be really gnarly with it.
Look, it doesn't have to be rated R. I just want a reference or the line ice skating uphill. They need to put that in there. They need to have that in there, or it's not Blade to me. It's not Blade. I need to hear about motherfuckers ice skating uphill.
Well, they get one F-bomb.
Yeah,
so maybe that'll be the one.
Yeah. Yes.
I think my favorite is when he tells the vampire, like, your mascara's running. When he's like, I don't know why.
Dude.
Wesley Snipes, why do I love you so much? That just the whole way he says, your mascara's running. I'm like,
those movies, I need to go back and watch those movies. Ryan Reynolds was in Blade 3, actually, come to think of it.
He was.
Yeah,
yes.
Deadpool himself. Also, who was the female lead in that?
Biel.
Yeah, Jessica Biel. Yes.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who was buff as hell.
She was, well, both her and Ryan Reynolds were both just like jacked out of their minds. They were just fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I think there's multiple minutes of film where it's just close-ups of them with like sweat skin. And that's it. Just like slow pan of
Sweat
like Ryan Reynolds'
skin.
abs or like Jessica Biel's arms or chest just in slow motion with sweat on them.
Skin.
Yeah. I think that's a large percentage of that movie. And then the old guy dies. Spoilers. That's all I remember from that movie. I don't recall much else.
That man dies, I think, in every movie, though. I think in every movie he dies.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Like, and then bring him back.
Yeah, that's probably true. I'll link this up in the chat here. And I think it's if you're watching the VOD or anything, just go to I think direct.com and they have all this stuff. But yeah, that's the current schedule for the upcoming years. So we will see. I also don't know how they're going to do Eternals. I don't know what Eternals, once again, a movie that spans literal millennia. So I don't know how that goes. And also
what's that movie with Tom Hanks? Cloud Atlas?
I never saw that.
He's like,
I never saw that.
It's like it spans through centuries. Is that? Hold on, I gotta look this.
I never saw that.
I mean, it's not. I don't know that it's a great movie, but it's that kind of vibe, I think. Where it's like it spans the individual lives and past, present, and future.
For some reason, I heard Clown Atlas, and I was like,
Cloud Atlas.
I'd watch Clown Atlas more than I would watch Cloud Atlas. That would be in the rankings. Clown Atlas would be up there.
Clown Atlas is just the Rocket Raccoon standalone movie.
There you go. That needs to happen. They need to actually.
Are they ever going to get into that backstory? Who knows?
Maybe. I mean, they definitely have made a lot of references to it. I also feel like in the talk about tangents that Rocket Raccoon has had like the worst go, especially during all of Endgame, where just literally everyone close to him died or got stabbed or had a brutal passing. I'll always remember that moment between him and Thor when Thor's talking about everyone that he's lost and like how Thanos is just a world-ending person and a long line of world-ending people, and if he'll kill him too. And then Rocket Raccoon's like, yeah, but what if you don't? And he goes, well, then I'll die. That's fine too. And Rocket's like, what the fuck? Like, how are you more depressed than I am? Look at my life, you motherfucker. Like, you gotta step up, Paul. You gotta shape up. Anyways, you guys want to talk about Falcon Winter Soldier episode 4?
Okay, I guess we'll do it.
I think it's the
Are
best
you still
episode
looking
thus
up
far.
Clown Atlas, Jesse?
Yeah, did you? Oh, yeah. Before we move on, was that the movie you're talking about?
No. Yeah, it is. Cloud Atlas. If you want to watch it, it's a movie about like the ripples of effects through time. Like that's the vibe, and it takes place. It literally spans from like the 1870s, I think, to the future, then to a post-apocalyptic future. It like goes like
the hell. Is it
goes
good?
to like the 1800s. I mean, it's like all right. I truly don't remember much about it, so that just goes to show exactly what kind of movie it was. Where I was like, I don't remember. But what I do remember is like it's Tom Hanks playing like 6 or 7 characters across time, and they're all like, there's like a through line through the story. And my favorite part, I just love the fact that it's like they show you this beautiful future. And it's like the future of man, and then it does one more jump, and it's like the post-apocalypse. And I was like, all right.
Have you ever seen The Fountain?
I have.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to do, by the way, with Hugh Jackman is just imagine that he's playing Wolverine in any movie. So it was Wolverine in The Fountain. It wasn't Hugh Jackman. It makes for an entertaining.
I love. That GIF. The GIF is my favorite thing that ever came out of that movie. Just
where he's crying. Yeah. There's a lot of that in that movie. Strangely enough, that movie's like pretty emotional. The Fountain. Maybe watch it. I can't remember if it's good. Was that movie good, Jesse?
I don't remember at all. There's a lot of movies I've seen where I watch it and I'm like, all right. I'll tell you if a movie's impactful because I can tell you every damn scene that happens. I'm like, oh, but what has happened? Yeah. I don't have that much bandwidth to remember a lot of movies that suck. So
I think wasn't the plot line of The Fountain that he was trying to find a cure for his wife?
I think, but it was like a Fountain of Youth vibe. I don't remember.
I don't recall. It's been a while. Wolverine does some weird shit. Let's talk Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Speaking of emotional.
Yeah, man. This episode had everything. I mean, let's start with that opening scene.
Woo!
The pan going to Wakanda with the tease in episode 3 at the very end. We start off, we're in Wakanda. Didn't know what was, I didn't know where they were going with it initially. And then it panned out to the forest outside the city limits. For maybe like the most emotional scene that I think has been in the MC. Like this episode had a lot of like most emotional, most brutal. Like that was a very rough scene.
They got me. I was crying. I was tearing up. And I did not, I know there's no comparison between the two because they're both very different forms of media, but WandaVision never got that out of me. But somehow Bucky didn't. In under a minute, I was like, what is this moisture? Is this, what the fuck? The way he's like glaring into the fire. I was like,
yeah.
Bucky. And I've never been a Winter Soldier stan. And I was like, well, Winter Soldier stans, is there room in the fan club? Because I would like a laminated membership card and a seat. It was so powerful. I went into it thinking, oh, this is going to be corny. And stepped out of it like, you've been through so much, you don't deserve
this. Yeah, you're right. I think that scene it either works or it's very, very corny, and that's a very thin line. And I feel like Sebastian Stan like acted the fuck out of that scene, and it was in a less than a minute moment. It was like really got to the point. Like, man, this guy's been through some shit. He's seen some shit. Now he's on the other side.
That smile, that smile immediate cut was perfect editing.
Yeah.
Whoever did that, where you're just about to see a smile cut. I was like, oh, they're on it today. They brought the A game for this episode. I was in it. I was like, oh, here we go. Yeah. And I have a theory that I was sharing with Bronze before. There's some sexual tension there. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Yeah, hold on. Let me read.
Bucky and Ayo are like.
Maybe we should read this here. This the DM from Jesse that me and Bronze received. Are you okay with this, Jesse?
Oh, me talking about? Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah. There's some precursor to this which won't make sense, but it still sets up. You better tell them I ride or die, Bucky style for Bronze, like I would be falling off a movie train, be a mind slave for 60 years, and then go through sexual tension-filled reprogramming at the hand of the Dora Milaje for her.
Yeah. That's what I would do. That's what I would do for Bronze. 60 years.
Jesse, that's so beautiful. That's so.
I got you. I got you. But like, I thought it was just like me being me. I was like, she's like really proud. They must have had like this connection when she was helping deprogram him. There's something there. And then after their scene where she's like walking around him and she's like, why'd you do this? We trusted you. Like, why'd you release him? As she walks away, she does that kind of like look back. I was like, oh.
Well,
I bet they was smooching.
Bronze talked about it last episode, and this idea that, and not something I had thought about at all, but it definitely stuck with me, and I think was highlighted this episode is like the Wakanda is the first place that Bucky has really felt like is a home to him, and I think this scene, the opening scene and the scene afterwards where he was talking with her is like nails that. And really hammers it home. And it was great. It was awesome to see that. I guess the acting moment from Stan and really, like Bron said, it made me a huge Bucky fan. Now I, in a lot of ways, am rooting, though the episode, what happens later in the episode kind of pulled me back over to Sam. Now I kind of want him to get the shield, right? Like they're both expressing, Captain America vibes to where I don't know who should get the shield and who should carry it on. It was really good. It was a really good scene for sure.
It was nice to see that the respect was kind of mutual too. Because where the last episode ended, I was like, wow, this is like kind of some of the only authority that Winter Soldier respects, right? Like he sees the Dora and he holds loyalty to them over the others because he doesn't immediately go and say, they're following us. He goes and talks to her first, almost like out of respect.
Totally.
But it was interesting to see that the Dora also respects him in a way. And that I think that's also what came across in that fire scene where I think we saw from like the scuffle later that they don't need to approach Bucky or talk to him or say, we'll give you 8 hours. They could swoop in at any point in time, beat the brakes off of those boys and take Zemo. And it's almost like a camaraderie and respect to be like, we're giving you 8 hours. After that, we do things our way. And as evidenced in the later scene, you realize that's not an empty threat. They could have come in right there.
Oh yeah. They don't give, the Dora Milaje do not fuck around. I also think, you're talking about mutual respect. I expected, and I think this happens in so many different shows where like one character knows more than the other characters and they keep it from them until like the crucial moment and then it's revealed. No, like 10 minutes later, he's like, oh yeah, by the way, Wakanda's here and they want Zemo. So we got that now. Like we got to figure that out. And they're just like, oh, great. I guess we need to, he didn't keep it from them, which I think also shows like Bucky's character advancement now. Like he knew there was no reason to keep that. Right? Like he just shared it, which I thought was a little bit out of character. Jesse, you're thinking. What are you thinking?
I had like you said something about like knowledge, and I had like a brain. I'm not gonna say brain fart, but I had like a brain epiphany.
Okay.
So I think, and this just might be me reading way too much into this show.
Okay.
I feel like
Mephisto is in the show.
So I think Mephisto. No, it feels like the way they tell story in this show is there's like you were saying about like this balance of power and the like. I imagine, I don't know if it's like a seesaw, but I feel like every episode there is a power balance being played out, and whoever has the knowledge or thinks they know stuff is not only the lead character like of that episode, but they like have the power of that episode. So, like the first episode is Sam. Sam knows what's up. Sam knows what's going on. And Bucky's kind of like along for the ride. In the second episode, it starts to switch. The power starts to switch where now it's like Bucky is starting to like, he kind of is taking over because Sam is like, I don't know, they're super soldier people, right? And so Bucky's like, this is where I come in. So he starts taking over. Yeah. And then the third episode is like Zemo comes in with the power. He's like, I know everything. And then we see that Sam and Bucky kind of like are secondary to Zemo's machinations. And in this one, I think what we saw was that the three of them all thought they knew stuff, right? Like Sam thought he knew like how to connect with the Flag Smashers, and Bucky Bucky thought he knew how to handle the Dormelage, and then Zemo thought he knew how to like control Bucky and Sam, but really none of them were in control this episode, and that's why everything goes to shit.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like me reading way too into it, but I love that like
That's a
the
good
power
point.
balance of what goes on with the episodes is interesting.
Yeah. They have done a really good job of, the show's called Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but it's definitely, they've spread the focus and the character development evenly across everyone in the entire show. And that goes for new characters, old characters. Everyone gets the spotlight, which is awesome. And they've done a really good job of, and I think that's also just something Marvel's learned how to do over the years, right? Because like you go back to some of the earlier films and they didn't do a good job of that. But yeah, they've definitely learned how to do that. And I think this show is an apex for them and how to, because everything Jesse just said was true in terms of who holds the power.
Yeah. It's like noticeable. Go back and watch like each episode. There's one character sort of a step ahead of everyone.
Yeah.
And in screen time as well. And then something happens and that character falls back and another character steps forward.
Yeah.
And then this episode, each character had their, like Zemo had a moment where he stepped forward and Sam had a moment where he stepped forward and Bucky stepped forward. But in the end, they all had to step back because everyone else came at them. And it was like, oh, you don't know nothing. Like your knowledge power balance is way off because everyone else, the Dormelage came in and kicked all your asses, right? You have this like rogue Captain America character who you don't control. And then you're also trying to control the Flag Smashers to like reach them, but you can't with all these other things. I thought it was great. I thought it was a great like, oh, we're entering the final act because y'all screwed up.
Yeah. What am I?
It was almost like a D&D game in that context.
Oh, yeah. Very true.
Where there's like a time for every person to shine, which is
Totally.
like how a good D&D game should go, right? Like every class should have their moment to be like, this is my job.
Yeah, very true. One of the like silly moments that I don't think was trying to be silly was when Zemo, Bucky, and Sam go and try to find more about the adoptive mother. And Bucky and Sam are just walking around. Hey, do you know anything about, No.
And then they just like gets up and walks away.
yeah. And I was just like, what the, like they gotta be better. And then it cuts to Zemo and Zemo's like singing nursery rhymes to this girl. And I was like, is he just about to kill everyone here? Like, this is so creepy. And he hands him some fucking candy. Like, what the fuck?
I need to say this and get this out of the way. Turkish Delight is the creepiest of all candies.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there.
I agree.
Every time someone's like Turkish Delight, they're trying to kidnap a kid. Every time.
He had big child snatcher vibes there. Like, it was creepy as fuck, man.
You're either like an ice queen or you're a Zemo. You're kidnapping kids if you give them Turkish. Turkish Delight is evil candy. It may be delicious. It may be, but it's evil.
Yeah.
The way he says it's irresistible and he's wearing a trench coat.
He like alludes to it. It was like, what the, like, I remember the three of them are talking and I think he asked Sam if he wants a Turkish Delight. And I was like,
He's trying to kidnap Sam.
Yeah, I looked at Aaron and I was like, why the fuck are they focusing on Turkish Delight? Like, is this like some weird sponsor plug or something?
I'm telling you.
It was so weird.
It got Mr. Tumnus and everyone else is going to get those kids too. Turkish Delight's evil.
It was so weird.
But I think it was, here's what I think the mark they were trying to meet that didn't really come across. I think it was trying to be that because he's been at the receiving end of that kind of oppression, that he knows how to relate to those people on their level. However, it did not read like that. When a creepy man in a trench coat is singing "Ba Ba Black Sheep" with a bag of candy to children,
and the camera's slowly zooming in behind his shoulder,
and then he's talking about how his child loved Turkish Delight and his child is no longer. It's like, is he gonna steal this girl?
It was weird. It was real strange.
It wasn't the wholesome. I don't know if they were aiming for wholesome. I don't know what, because that was my interpretation. I was like, maybe they were trying to allude to like, oh, he knows like how to talk to these people because like technically he's kind of been there, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not how that scene read.
Yeah, it was a weird tone shift. It made me wonder if that scene, like, if you think about reshoots and reframing of like a character or story arc, if that was like Gen 1 of Zemo, and that was like a direction they took him, and then they filmed the dance scene in Gen 2, and they're like, wait a minute, this is much better. Like, we should go Gen 2 Zemo. But they left that in there because there's no way that they didn't film the actual scenes where they could get the information from the girl to go to the funeral type deal. And so they just had to include it. I don't know. It was a weird whiplash of child snatcher vibe Zemo. Like it.
I mean, I guess it's supposed to remind us that Zemo is a bad guy at the end of the day. Like, it was a creepy scene. It was a scene where you're like, oh, this is a bad dude. Like, he's using these kids. And I don't know. I definitely didn't walk away like, that Zemo, what a crazy guy. I was like, oh, this guy can't be trusted. This guy, he's singing Blah Blah Black Sheep, oh, evil.
And maybe
only evil people sing Blah Blah Black Sheep.
I don't know why those children didn't scream and run.
Yeah.
Like,
he had Turkish,
Turkish delights. They're delicious and irresistible,
the
Bronze.
siren song of kidnapping. He was like, oh, like luring them in. They saw that Turkish delight and were like, is that Turkish delight? He was like, oh, it gets you. You gotta watch out. If anyone ever offers you Turkish delight, you are dead in 24 hours.
Well, there were adults around this.
Exactly. He's like walking through the camp. Everyone's watching him. And I think the best thing is hard cut to like Bucky and Sam. And they're like, what's that about? I'm like,
yeah, they're like, what the fuck is he doing? And
same. Same. Why aren't you stopping him?
And
he's
even
like singing to children.
It was weird too because he comes back and they're like, what was that about? And he's like, nothing. And then 5 minutes later, he's like, oh yeah, by the way, that little girl told me where the funeral is. So that's why
when he comes back, doesn't he say I love kids? Which also I was like, what the hell? But this man, where's Chris Hansen?
Oh, maybe he does. Maybe I blocked that on my memory. Yeah.
I feel like he said, I think maybe I'm filling it in with like my horror recollection, but I feel like he says something like cute kids or I love kids or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
oh, as he like walks by like cute kids. It's like, oh, maybe you might be right. That does sound like
someone in chat says he says sweet kids. Sweet kids, cute kids, something like that. Yeah. Look, it was a weird thing. I guess if it was a reminder that like Zemo is actually a bad guy, it fulfilled that, but or a manipulative person maybe is another aspect of it, right? Because he definitely manipulated those kids for information. But
yeah, maybe that's the thing. Yeah. Because that girl, I mean, look, I don't know the life of someone struggling through displacement and being a refugee, but he gave her candy, and like a few hours later, she's like, I will lead you to where the things are. Oh, thanks for the $500 or whatever. Like, she was on Team Zemo so quickly. Yeah. I was like, that Turkish delight got this girl. She was like, Turkish delight.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a weird, It was a weird thing. It made sense in the like story of the episode. But it was definitely a little bit of a like tone whiplash from fucking Zemo cut being released the same week that you get to see him like hang out with some kids. I also had a question about as they're going around in the building looking for people. Everyone gets up and just walks away. Yeah. Oh, it was comical.
They keep walking. I assume they're all going to where? Like, is there one room? Just go to that room. Open the door. All right. Now that you're all here, let me ask you about like where were they? Why doesn't he just follow them? Instead, he's just like, I guess I'll go in opposite direction. Yeah. Like, just ask them, Sam. Just go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it more, I think maybe the Zemo scene was to show that like the other two are more transparent with their motives and they have like rules they'll follow, and Zemo won't. He'll do what needs to be done to achieve his ultimate goal. Whereas they're like, obviously, we're not going to talk to the kids. That would be inappropriate. If someone doesn't want to talk to us, we'll let them disengage. You know, to piggyback off of what you were saying, Jesse. I think for Zemo, it's like, yo, this dude is willing to do stuff the other two are not to get the info he needs. He doesn't care.
Yeah, it's a very good point. It was still a weird scene.
Creepy Bob Black Sheep.
Yeah. Yeah, like this. I think the singing only made the scene, and obviously they were going for this, but it made the scene like 10x worse. Where it was just like if he just went up up and offer him candy, I'd be like, all right, sure, kids like candy. Zemo's kind of weird, but the fact that he was fucking singing a nursery rhyme while doing it. And those kids don't enjoy nursery rhymes. They were like 10 and 12. They were playing fucking Pokemon. He should have given them cards or something.
Yeah, but let me tell you.
Here's a Pikachu. Tell me where this funeral's at.
It got the kids' attention long enough for him to be like, Turkish delight. And they were like, and that was it. And then it was over. He got him. He lured him in.
I can never
they looked
enjoy
over, they're like, what's this creep? What's this creep doing? They looked over and he was like, gotcha. Yeah.
Oh, God. Well, after that, I think we had my favorite scene of Falcon thus far when he's talking to Carly. That was literally him just being Captain America. It was the most Captain America scene of
He literally
Sam.
said Captain America lines.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a great moment. It also highlighted the fact that when you first are introduced to Falcon back in the Winter Soldier, or wait, was it Civil War or Winter Soldier? I think it's Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah, when you're first introduced to him, that he used to be like a vet counselor, and that like came into play there, and it was just a great scene of between the two of them. Unfortunately, it got interrupted, and like that whole plan went askew. But I definitely think like Carly was resonating with her, right? Like she was starting to see like, all right, maybe this Sam guy, maybe this Falcon guy's like not really out to get me. Maybe I should listen to him. And then it got fucked up. Yeah.
But I think they did a great job of humanizing the entire like resistance, I guess. Because even what I actually loved is like Carly's crew. I know that one of the guys has like a huge Twitter presence now.
Really?
He's been tweeting out a bunch of stuff. Yeah. He's been tweeting out like a bunch of stuff about like, the behind the scenes thing. I think he has like a piece of the shield he tweeted out about. And so like reading his story and then like seeing him in this episode and that whole group of like her dudes, it's interesting to see, all of them be very humanized. And I mean, even dropping the like, I was a Captain America fan as a kid, like that stuff, I think is so neat the way they're setting them up. That I mean, obviously it's gonna end badly for all of them, but like
one of them
it's
already,
interesting.
But
yeah, and it's the guy who liked Captain America. I thought that was a great.
Yeah,
I thought that was a great touch.
Yeah,
always looked up to Captain America, and
then the final scene happens. We'll get to it. Yeah.
But technically, I mean, he did. He did look up at Captain America.
Yes, that's true. It's true.
So messed up.
After the Sam scene with Carly, we had a little bit of because Walker shows up, interrupts, have a little bit of a chase scene. It's always a little bit strange to me. I don't know if you guys get this. When you watch like Winter Soldier or some of the
run,
the
are you talking about the run?
Yes, the run, or the stair jump. The stair jump was also strange because like he just jumped up a flight of stairs. But also the run, it looks like they speed up, like they keep the background slow, but they speed up the footage of him running or something like that. So the background looks normal. And so he runs really fast. It's weird. It's a little off-putting.
I don't know if this is how they still do it, but in order to do that run effect on other movies, they have like a run pad the actor's running on. And then they drag it with a car in front.
Oh.
So it's like they're running, but then they just scoot them along even faster. I don't know if they do that anymore, but I feel like that's what the stuntmen would do is they would like start running on like kind of like a makeshift treadmill. And then a car would pull it. And so it would look like they were zooming along and they green screen all of it out.
That's gotta be destabilizing.
Oh, it's gotta be tough as hell.
Could you just imagine? I mean, I have so much respect for stunt actors, but could you just imagine?
I imagine it's one of those like don't focus on the ground. Like just close your eyes and run or look forward and run. Yeah. I have no clue what that would be like. But maybe they don't do that. Maybe it's all CG now. Who knows?
Couldn't tell you. It's definitely a little bit awkward to see, but I guess it would be awkward just to see someone running that fast to begin with. So maybe that's fine and maybe that's the point. But like in a lot of those scenes, to see Bucky just like scale those stairs right after Carly jumps those stairs. It was evocative of like X-Men 1 for me to like see them do it back then. Like it hasn't gotten any better, I guess is what I'm getting at. But it was still fine regardless. I thought that whole scene was cool. Combat was great. And then at the very end, Zemo, like was Zemo ready to kill Walker? Like he shot him, right? Like he did damage to Walker, didn't he? Before he got knocked. Or no, who was he shooting? Because he got knocked out by the shield.
He was shooting
Carly. He was shooting Carly.
Aloy. Yeah, Aloy.
Carly. Yeah. He was shooting Carly.
No, let's
Aloy.
make that happen. By the way, yes.
Yeah. That's right. I forgot he shot Carly, stepped on all the vials, and then he got hit really brutally on the side of the temple by the fucking shield out of nowhere.
I thought that was a fantastic. Like, what a great Zemo scene, and that it gives you exactly who his character is. Like, he walks up to those vials, he sees those vials, and the camera even gives you that, like, will he, won't he, like, is he gonna grab one of these things?
Yeah.
And he's so his convictions are so firm. When he stepped on those vials, I was like, damn, this dude really does hate superpowered people. He's like, I would rather no one ever have this, which is, I think, it's an interesting foil to sort of what happens immediately afterwards with, like, there's one vial left. Now what do I do? And he's like, I want that.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, and in that moment, Carly also runs away, and he has ample opportunity to continue shooting her, and he doesn't, because, like, this is more important to him, making sure that there's no more, and he'll deal with her later. Yeah,
it was a really good scene for sure. That shot to the head though, like, I couldn't believe he survived that. It came out of nowhere.
I like how they play it off as a joke. Because then later he's got, like, a towel on his head, and he's like,
yeah, like right in the scene afterwards.
It's not like,
yeah.
If he was an alien, he would have been decapitated.
Yeah.
If he was not a human, he would have died Marvel style. He would have, like, exploded. A hit like that with that shield.
Yeah.
That would cut his head. Like that would scalp this dude. He'd have his brain would be there.
I skipped over it, but I also forgot the moment that I really enjoyed when Walker is first introduced, and they're in kind of the boiler room, and Walker walks over to Zemo and, like, handcuffs him to the I don't know, some metal pipe, and I don't think anyone ever thought that, like, that was going to keep Zemo in that spot. There's no way that he can't get out of that. And of course, they just go back to it. It's just the handcuffs are just standing there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That scene was also very good. But yeah, of course, like, I knew from the episode 1 when they introduced Walker that, like, he was going to get super soldier serum, right? Like, that was where
U.S. agent, man. It was good. It was going to happen. Yeah,
that's where he was going. It was going to happen. I thought the scene where he, like, sees the vial off on its own away from the smashed one was cool, and, like, everyone knows that moment. Like, oh, okay, he's going to take it. Because I think there was even some discussion between Lamar and him, right? There was a lot of discussion around this idea of, like, hey, would you take the super soldier serum? Zemo asked Sam, and without any hesitation, Sam's like, no. And Zemo's like, oh, okay, that's he even makes reference, like, oh, you said that without hesitation. And then it goes to, like, the other conversation between Lamar and Walker. And
Lamar's like, hell yes.
Yeah, hell yeah, I would. Without question. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
I think that's, like, cool because it shows, I think for the longest time, these side characters, whether that's, like, War Machine or Falcon, have kind of been crapped on as, like, oh, they're the sidekicks. Sidekicks aren't important. They're just kind of there. Does the Falcon even need his own show? These are conversations that have actually happened. And I think, like, those conversations in this episode were really important because they show that, like, part of why Captain America is because of Bucky and Sam. Bucky when he's younger and Sam when he's older. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, like, part of, like, anytime he has these questions or you know, crises of you know, what's the right choice, he has the support system to push him in the right direction. And we see with Battlestar for the longest time that he is trying to, but then in some ways that character is flawed. And that leads to Captain America being flawed. Like, it's really deep because it shows why the Falcon is an important character.
Yep.
Because if Captain America at any point in time, if he were to ask his Falcon, you know, would you take the super soldier serum? We now know Sam would say no. And that kind of informs, like, why we got the Cap we got versus, like, this current great value version of him.
Yeah. I really love that scene between Zemo and Falcon as well. Because in a lot of ways, I felt like Zemo was kind of testing him. And like, I think Zemo, especially when we look at Bucky, and he even makes reference to Captain America being like the exception to the rule, right? Like, he was a super soldier that like did everything the right way or handled it correctly. I think Zemo is okay with Bucky having it, and I think with how Sam answers it, Zemo would be okay with Sam having it as well. I don't think we're gonna get Sam with super soldier serum. I don't think that's gonna happen.
No.
But I think if it happens, Zemo would be like, okay, great, you're an exception to the rule. I will let you live. I won't hunt you down.
I don't know that I buy that.
Really?
I don't know that I buy that.
I feel like he got his answer. I feel like he got his answer.
I think Zemo would be like, you're a liar. Yeah, and then if somehow Sam was like, now I have it, Zemo would be like, you're a liar. Would you like some Turkish candy? And he'd be like, no.
You got to do the head tilt. Remember?
I love that they roasted him for that. I know that's like such a Marvel move to like do that little jab at a character, but like, what a great moment where like it's his head thing and he just goes.
He fixes it.
Yeah, I thought that was very cute. I was like, all right.
Head tilt comment was very good. Yeah, that whole sequence of events between the two parties about the super soldier serum was fantastic. But then the best part of the entire episode happens when the Dora Milaje show up. And we get a little scuffle between Captain America and Winter Soldier gets in there, and they just fucking dominate everyone. They just show up and just shit all over people, and it's great. It was so good. I thought
the best part was Sam and Bucky are like, we're gonna stay out of this fight and let these two guys get beat up. But then the Dora Milaje are like, we're gonna kill these dudes. And they're like, whoa, and that's when they jump in. I thought that was like a really interesting thing. They were just like, oh, we don't mind killing these guys. And they're like, you can't kill them. And they're like, but like, how else are we gonna beat them? I was like, damn.
Yeah.
These ladies are like amazing.
It was so good. Every line they had was incredible. Where it's like, you don't have jurisdiction here, and it's like, we have jurisdiction wherever the fuck we want, you asshole. Go fuck yourself.
So good.
The comment from Walker about the knife fight was 10 out of 10. Because then we got to see Bucky with a knife again, and I'll watch Bucky flip knives all day long. Because it's always good, and it's the best scene from Winter Soldier in the entire movie is when that knife fight's happening and he throws it up in the air and catches it and continues the fight. It's great. Go look up the gif of that. What else was there? Zemo just like sneaking away was great. Zemo, where he's just kind of like, I don't need to fucking be here. I'm just going to go in the restroom and go into the sewer and leave. It was great.
I love that.
Yeah. It was great.
Have fun.
Yeah. I think it was also for character development purposes, like Captain America, with quotes around it, left that fight and just realized he got his ass kicked by like mere mortals. Like he didn't just lose, he got his fucking ass kicked. When they threw that spear in between the shield, I was like, oh, he's done. Yeah. He's so pissed.
What a great moment of transition for a character. Because I was like, okay, he's obviously gonna use that serum. What's gonna spark it? Like, what is the thing? And the fact that it's literally just like he got his ass kicked by normal everyday people, although normal is a relative term, but like by not super powered, just like a bunch of badasses. He got his ass kicked and he was like, no. I was like, oh, there it is.
You know what's interesting there? It actually kind of betrays his lack of respect for them, because Bucky also got bodied.
Oh,
Sam also got bodied.
Everyone did.
You don't see Bucky's a super soldier, and she knocked his arm off and walked away like he was nothing, right? So you don't see them having this existential crisis over being, but you notice that scene is actually kind of foreshadowed in that the first thing Walker says to them is like, oh, like with your sticks. He calls the spears sticks.
Yeah.
And it's very much like, you guys aren't shit. So him being defeated by an opponent he doesn't respect is a big part of why he's like, well, they're not even super soldiers. Oh my, you don't see Sam and Bucky having a breakdown, because all of them got humbled in that moment, but they respect the Dora.
Yeah.
And that's a very important part of why they don't have this mental breakdown when they get beaten by them, because they're like, well, this is an opponent we respect. I don't mind having my ass beaten by a Dora Milaje because I understand they're very skilled warriors. Whereas he's like, this woman with a stick just fucking owned me. It's like that lack of humility is what makes that defeat so terrible to him.
Yeah. Well, they even in a lot of ways showed, I don't want to say disrespect, but it was more just like, hey, we just remember that we just did that when I think it was Ao when she like grabs the shield and was like, by the way, this exists because we made it, you motherfucker. Like this is in a lot of ways our shield. You could see them kind of like, should we take this? Is this ours? Like, are we taking this back?
She
with
even
us?
asked, yeah. They're like, she's like, nah, leave it.
Yeah.
We got
we're
more
gonna
of
let
that.
you
We
have
don't need
it.
that. Yeah.
So it was
Which
was an
puts
awesome
the
thing.
stick. It puts the stick disrespect in even bigger regard, right? Because it's like that shield you carry around, acting like you're, God's gift to the world. Like, what do you think our spears are made out of?
Yeah, that's true.
Like what you just called a stick.
I can't tell if they were trying to do a fake out. Like, there's a lot of good character building for, again, our new Captain, air quotes, Captain America.
Yeah.
And that, the scene where he's talking about, talking to Battlestar about, like, when we were at war, we could have saved all these people's lives. He just had super. In my mind, I was like, oh, he's a character who is going to, something's going to cause him to use the serum so he can, I'm going to be saving lives, like that kind of vibe. But what ends up happening is he does it because he just like gets beat up by a bunch of girls. Like that's the impetus was the immediate trigger. Because I was like, oh, if I was writing this, it would have been like after his friend dies, that's when he's like, I'm not gonna let anyone else die, and then he like goes down a darker path. But this was like he was already juiced up before they got to that scene.
Yeah.
Because he was like, a bunch of normies beat me up. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I thought that was super neat because I was like, oh yeah, I see what they're doing. He's gonna be this character who's like, I don't want to experience that shit anymore. I got all these medals for something that like I thought was terrible. And I was like, oh, I see what they're doing. And then they're just like, no, I got beat up by a bunch of girls, and he's like pissed. And so he's like, jack me up. I thought that was super. I was like, okay, all right.
It's a great way to handle it for sure.
Yeah.
We talked, Bronze, you brought up the idea that she quite literally disarms Bucky. I feel like in chat's making a lot of references to it as well. That was almost for Bucky like a sense of like, you kept this from me. Like there was a lot of like emotions on his face in that very moment. Not the fact that like
they were in love.
Not the fact that he's like, I just lost. It was just like, what the fuck? You kept this from me? Like you just pressed my arm in like 2 or 3 points and my fucking arm fell off. Why wouldn't you tell me this? Type deal.
I'm telling you, we're gonna find out the two of them had a thing. I'm letting you know. There's something there between those two. I feel it. Oh, I like it. I want more.
I think that failsafe is probably hard to process because it's like it puts that other scene in context when she starts reading the words and she's like, I'll stop you. I won't let you do anything wrong.
Yeah.
I think it puts that in a little bit more context for him where it's like, because at any point in time she could just pop my arm off like I'm an action figure.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I also wonder too if that like deteriorates some of the trust / like familial feeling that he has with Wakanda at all. Because we both talked about, or you brought it up, 2 episodes or the first episode where it was like, that's his home now. I wonder if he sees that and he's like, fuck, man, maybe it's not. Like maybe I don't know. I don't know how he processes that because there's a lot of ways that he could. And maybe he doesn't process that in the show because of how this episode ends, and they kind of have to deal with that.
How many episodes are left in this?
2. We got 2 left.
Oh my god.
One of them is 60 minutes long though. I think this next episode is like 61 minutes long, so it's about 15 minutes longer than.
I mean, awesome, great, excited for this. I was just thinking about that power dynamic because in this one, clearly by the end, the Dora Milaje come in and are like, none of you have power, right? I'm curious what that means then for the power broker as a character, because that has to be. Didn't they say the next episode is like a big name, like an actor, like a big time actor is in this series?
Well, so that was some of the rumors going around. You're talking about the power broker, right?
I mean, I'm not one of those people that believes it's like the power broker, but there's some famous actor is in the next episode. I think that's what the rumor is.
I think the reference or the rumor was that people think that Ross is the power broker. Ross being Ross from the Incredible Hulk, and that the reason that he's the power broker is because he got snapped and he came back and didn't have any of his rank at all in the CIA. And they've referenced the fact that Zemo, quote, said he is the pronoun. And so that further pushes the Ross theory. And also the idea that the power brokers, I think, like lackeys that show up are U.S. military or former U.S. military of something. And so a lot of people believe him to be that, which then falls in line with
we
theory
doing Thunderbolts?
that Thunderbolt Ross is going to get the Thunderbolts and Zemo's going to be the head of the Thunderbolts, etc. So that kind of pushes everything down that path.
All right, great.
Cool. I don't know though, like, is that a big actor? Like, I don't know enough about him as an actor to know if that would quantify as a big actor.
I think it quantifies as a big actor. I mean, also I don't tend to believe a lot of it, mostly because of the whole big like, oh yeah, Paul Bettany is going to work with his most favorite actor, and everyone was like, who could it be? Yeah. And then it was himself, and then it was just himself. Get it? Like,
I know, that was like, an actor he always wanted to work with.
Yeah, and everyone's losing their mind. Like, who could it be? And everyone's like, it's Ian McKellen. And they're like, what?
That's what everyone thought. Yeah. So we'll see. Ross was at the funeral scene in Endgame, and that was the first time that I think he had shown up since, like, the Incredible Hulk. So clearly the actor... was he in something else?
Wasn't he like...
he was in Civil War.
Because they were like, they shut him off. They were like, no, we're not talking to you.
He was with the Sokovia Accords. He was the literal guy saying, like, sign all this shit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that if he was from Civil War, then Zemo, I wouldn't be surprised if he just, like, shows up, right? Because, like, he could very well be the power broker. So
it would also explain why, our like, I guess why things are the way they are with sort of like background characters as well.
With Sharon, you mean?
Yeah, with Sharon, for example, just like in general, like why Sharon has like satellite clearance if the power broker is literally like ex-bigwig CIA military intelligence guy. Like, I guess that would make more sense than just like, she still has an in.
Yeah.
I have no clue.
Yeah. I'm okay with it because it just means that Thunderbolts could actually be a real thing. And if that means more Zemo, if he's at the helm of that, then great. Also, if the Red Hulk shows up, that's what Ross turns into, and like the She-Hulk fandom, then, great. We could
go. Makes me think of Venture Brothers, because I feel like he could totally sell that line of like, I'm a Hulk.
Yeah. Yeah. Abomination could show up. Yeah, like we could see some cool shit for sure. If that's the
y'all haven't seen Venture Bros, watch it. They clown the clown some of these characters. They definitely do it with Ross. Like, I'm a Hulk. Like, he's like on this big spaceship. So anyway,
it's been a while since I've seen the Venture Bros. I need to go back and watch it. Anyways, after the whole Dora Milaje scene, Zemo escapes. And then we get another like weird tone shift character-wise when Carly calls Sam's sister and says, we're gonna mention your kids. You better watch the fuck out. And,
I'm gonna murder you.
Yeah, I'm gonna murder you. And then like Sam, when talking with Carly afterwards, like, what the fuck did you? And she's like, oh, I wasn't gonna do anything. I was just trying to get your. It's like, it's a weird tone. I feel like some of these scenes were filmed before and after type thing. Because it was like Carly blew people up in that one building. And then she seems all nice when talking to Sam. And then in the next one, she's like, by the way, I threatened your sister and the kids. It just seems like a lot. Like that character, I think, is having a hard time. I'm having a hard time trying to see where that character is. And maybe that's on purpose, right? Like maybe they are trying to make her a gray character for the viewer, but it was weird. It was a little bit of a weird scene.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be a more linear progression because I just assumed the serum was what was amping her up. So that's why I just figured it would be like a straight line. And they kind of touch on that. I'm trying to remember which scene it is where it's like, well, you like the serum just is like makes you more you. It's when he asks Battlestar, like, would you take the serum? And he's like, well, Well, the serum just makes, is like a better version of you. So I was like, what if it's not? What if it amplifies like your worst qualities? And that's why we're getting Carly, who at one point maybe was worthy of having this, steadily turning into somebody who's more and more and more and more violent. But then they kind of walk it back and then they walk it forward again. So I don't know. I don't know if the serum has an emotional component. Going into the beginning of the episode, I was positive. I was like, oh, I think it amplifies like all your emotions or all of the things that, about you, that even the bad stuff, which is why like the original Captain America was the perfect recipient for that, because it was somebody who was so noble. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't coming from a place of wanting to do harm or wanting to, right injustice, or somebody who'd gotten 3 Medal of Honors and had seen this nasty side of war, but coming from someone who was kind of pure, not the perfect soldier, but a good man.
Yeah.
So but now I don't know, because that scene with Sam, it kind of seems like she could be talked down, but then she has these moments where she's like,
she's a little unstable in a lot of ways.
yeah.
Yeah. And maybe that's what they were trying to show, is that she, she blew up that fucking building and she threatened his sister's kids, but she's also still like sometimes good and like has maybe a noble heart.
That's like a fascinating question to ask, because I feel like every one of these characters we see who gets the serum, they all have a goal, and that goal is one that leads them down a darker path, be it from like Red Skull up to Carly. They all have a goal that messes them up in the end. But Cap, original Captain America, Steve Rogers, what was his goal? I don't think he had a goal. I think he was just like a good dude trying to do good. There was no like, what is his end game? He was just like, I have this power. I'm trying to do good in the world. That's it, period.
Yeah, he didn't like bullies. That was like his goal. He hated bullies and he couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah. Like his whole thing was like, I'm going to stand up to like bad people. Like he didn't even have like, there was nothing about him that was like his major objective, and then he'll be done. Well, everyone else who has this is just like, I took this power, or I want this power because I want to achieve a thing. And they're so focused on that thing, they become warped over time trying to achieve it. But Steve didn't have that. So Steve's just kind of like this perfect like superhero, because he's just trying to like be the good guy. And there is no like, and if I have to destroy everyone to make this, like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, someone points out he wasn't like, I want to kill Hitler, right? Like that wasn't his goal.
Yeah, he wasn't like, I'm going to take down Red Skull. He was like, Red Skull hurt my friends. Well, that's not very good. I'm going to stop him from doing this. Yeah. Stop him from doing that. But it wasn't like, I'll kill Red Skull and I'll end this war. It wasn't like his plan. He was just, they tell him to go to a place. He's like, all right, I guess I'll do that. But my friends are in trouble, so I'm going to go save them real quick. And that was like
also
his
buy war bonds.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, even that scene where it's like the person walks up to Walker and is like, can I get a photo? And it's like, are you ever going to get tired of that? And all I could think is like, you guys don't really know what this job is.
Right.
You really don't you didn't understand the assignment, to speak in Twitter terminology. You're not understanding the assignment.
Yeah. I love the fact that happened as well. It also showed like how, I think how fake, I guess is the word that I'll use, that Walker can be, right? Because like the second that happens, puts on a smile, goes into the role, right? It's not him being Captain America. He goes into the role of Captain America and what his assigned job is potentially. And that was like a pretty big takeaway.
No, that's very good. I didn't think about that he's acting.
Yeah, he's acting.
Captain America.
Yes.
He's Captain America cosplay, and real Captain America wasn't trying to be Captain America. He was trying to be like Steve Rogers doing good. And he became Captain America because of his deeds. And now they're like, well, we need Captain America again. So everyone who's being Captain America is acting as Captain America, what they think Captain America should be. Meanwhile, Sam and Bucky are actual Captain Americaing this entire plot line, because they're just trying to like be themselves and like do good. Yeah. And, stop Carly or whatever. But they're like, great. Yeah. Great takeaway. Huge fan of that.
It was good. So then that kind of leads us down to the final encounter / scene of the show, which a lot of stuff happens. So when Sam goes and meets Carly on kind of that rooftop, Walker and Battlestar follow along. There's like a fight between a lot of them, and then seemingly out of nowhere, I wasn't really prepared for it. There wasn't really like, I guess there was some death flags, but like they just straight up fucking murder Battlestar. And I
They
guess
did a fake out too.
Yeah, I guess if
Like,
anything, it was
they had him
for a
tied up.
catalyst. But yeah, go ahead, Jesse.
No, they like it was a fake out. They had him tied up. I thought for sure it was gonna play out differently, but like it seems very obvious that there had to be something to sort of push Walker over the line. But like I don't know.
Yeah,
It was
I kind of saw it coming because the scene in the boiler room.
Yeah.
He said like he's having like a minor panic attack, and what does he say to Bucky? He says like, your partner's in there alone. Do you want that blood on your hands? And then that scene when he's talking to Battlestar, where he's like, I can't, like, you know, all those people died. Imagine if we had
That's
super
true.
soldier serum. He is traumatized, which is interesting because like Sam is like, he deals with trauma, and I feel like at some level maybe he would have seen these signs, but I think he just hates Walker, so they never get to have that interaction. But it's like his biggest fear is losing his partner. His biggest fear is losing another soldier under his watch. In some ways, that's like kind of commendable, but mixed with super soldier serum, that's all bad. But like everyone else is like chilling, leaning against a wall, and he's over here having like a minor panic attack over the possibility that Sam might die. He's not in his Falcon suit. He's got no protection. He's in a room with a super soldier, and he's having this moment where he's just like, what happens if she heel turns and she punches Sam's head off? Like, oh my God, like how, Bucky, why are you leaning against the wall? Why are you okay? And it's like, well, he trusts his partner, you know, like there's like this weird dichotomy there. But then, so I kind of had a feeling where I was like, I'm pretty sure Battlestar's going to die because that's Walker's biggest fear is losing another soldier, losing his partner.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how great? Actually, while you were talking, I just realized, holy shit, you're like, all right, this is what a great moment for his character. I just realized this. He has that scene where he's talking about how if he was like, if I had superhero serum, we could have saved so many lives.
Yeah.
And then when he has it, his partner dies.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
can't save him.
It's a great catalyst
still
for everything.
Can't save him.
Yeah.
And it makes him snap.
Yeah, that's what gets him.
Because
Oh,
he
that's
takes
so
this
good.
thing to prevent that, and unwittingly makes it kind of happen, like pushes it forward. And you see that snap happen in his brain where he's like, no, but I took the serum so that this would never happen again. And now this has happened. And now I don't know how to process this because that's why I took the serum. And like even then when the person runs away, he doesn't immediately go after them. He goes for Battlestar because it's supposed to be like he's not a complete piece of shit, right? But it's like, I don't know, my heart broke for him in that moment. I get everyone hates Walker, but in that moment I was like, that has to suck. Where you're like, if I do this, I might never lose another soldier, another friend again. And then you do it and you still do. On some level, you have to, oh, wow.
Yeah. It's a lot to process. It makes sense too why he snapped in the moment, right? Like that occurs, he kind of like looks around the room, he sees Carly run, and he's like, I'm going out that fucking window. And he just like jumps straight out the window, lands on the ground, and then I guess Nico was the flag smasher.
It was the Captain America guy.
He was a Captain America fan.
So
Yeah. And like I knew what was gonna happen when they set up the scene of him like being in the fountain, but I didn't realize it was gonna be as like graphic, right? Like when he kills the guy and then holds up the shield and there's literal blood on the shield from where he, I guess, potentially decapitated the guy. That like maybe is one of the most gruesome scenes I think I've ever seen in the MCU. Like
that was
I can't believe they
cover
did
shot.
it.
Was it the comic book cover shot? Is that what it was?
I'm telling you, if this is the comic book, that's a comic book cover shot.
100%.
Like the bloody shield.
Yeah.
And it's like, what did Captain America do? Issue 96. Right? Yeah.
Because
yeah.
am I crazy or did he decapitate him?
I think he
decapitated that.
100%. He went like this, held the shield up with the fucking his head's gone. He lost his head. Yeah.
100%.
That is the darkest thing we've ever seen in the MCU.
Yeah.
You know what? All I could think of in that scene was it was such a perfect mirror of when Captain America is wailing on Iron Man, except Steve Rogers shows restraint and this man doesn't. Like it's such a clear like Steve Rogers when he's like literally breaking Tony's heart. It's one of my favorite scenes that they've ever done in the MCU. Stops, right? Because he's like, he's defeated. I'm done. I'm walking away because I'm Steve Rogers and I would never actually murder Tony. And it really shows like, this is Walker. This is not Steve Rogers. And he 100% will. You know, it was like.
I didn't even think about that. It was the literal same move that he used to stop him.
Yes.
Holy shit. I did not even realize that. When he like breaks his suit. Jesus. That's so good. That's so smart. Holy shit. Yeah, it was a remarkable scene.
Is that when Steve also leaves his shield behind? Like he just walks away from the shield as well?
Yes, he leaves it there.
I think that's like, it says a lot. Where he, that's great. Wow, I didn't even think about that.
America without the.
Yes, right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he's Captain America without the shield, and Walker isn't Captain America, but also in his head isn't Captain America without the shield, which is why he's so upset when the Dora take it from him. Like he's like so upset by that,
Yeah.
Whereas I think if that was Steve Rogers on the floor and Ao took his shield, he would have been like, okay. Like I can't imagine him, I can't imagine him like having a meltdown over that.
It even, there's another parallel there, right? Because in Infinity War, when they land in Wakanda, I think Ao says, Black Panther says, someone get this man his shield. Right?
Yeah.
So like they're giving it to Captain America there, and in this they're taking it away. I did not even like see any of these parallels until we started talking about it on the show. That's super fucking well done by them. It's great. I don't know where we go from here. I don't know if Walker is like, because the other thing is you see people filming it, right? And so the idea of like Captain America is back and like he's this paragon of American virtue, blah, 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 blah. And now he's like on camera fucking decapitating someone with blood everywhere. Do you think he gets like arrested by Sam and Bucky? Do you think he like flees the scene? Like where are we going from here?
I don't know what they intend to do with his character, right? Like this could be a character they bring back multiple times because he's still, even though all this stuff kind of happens to him in comics, he's still around doing things. Like he has his own arcs. He's kind of like bad guy Captain America, and he does like his own rogue stuff. But I don't know. He could also be the kind of character that it's like we have to kill this character off at the end of the season.
He could join
there
Thunderbolts.
Has to be a throwdown.
I mean,
that's very possible.
He could like the American government be like, "Fuck you, you're not Captain America." Take shield back, give it to Sam. Then U.S. agent goes and joins Thunderbolts.
Can I propose the craziest theory of all?
Let's hear
it. Starting now, in a series of post-credit scenes, Zemo is the new Samuel Jackson. And he's like, I'm forming a team. Wouldn't that be wild?
That'd be great.
I can't see Zemo recruiting Walker.
They do hate each other, and he does stand for everything that he hates about the super soldier
And he took
serum.
the serum.
Yeah.
Like, on some level, Zemo's like, but here's the thing. Would Zemo recruit him as a means to an end and then murder him?
Or to keep his eye on him. Yeah. My other thing, we were talking about Thunderbolts, and I think the potential for this to be the catalyst to create U.S. Agent instead of Captain America with the end of the episode. My fear is that it just becomes this giant Suicide Squad foil, right? Where like DC's got Suicide Squad and there's a new one coming out, and now Marvel's like, oh yeah, we're doing Thunderbolts. This is our Suicide Squad. I really hope that that's like not where we're headed.
Please no.
Yeah, because I like Suicide Squad fits a role, and I think it's great and it does what it does. But like, I don't want that. I don't want that story again in the MCU. I think that there's much more interesting things that they could do, but maybe we're years from it. Maybe it's way too early. They're definitely setting up some sort of like Young Avengers / Thunderbolt shit, though, without question.
Yeah. I wonder how they wrap up. There's so much stuff to wrap up. I guess we have time. We have a movie's worth of time left, but I'm curious how they wrap up. But I mean, there's a lot of story happening. There's a Flag Smasher story, there's a Zemo story, and there's a Walker story. That's 3 foils for our two heroes. Couldn't tell you how we wrap any of this up, and somehow pay off the loan for the fishing, or like get a loan for the fishing.
I think here's what I think. I think Zemo's going to pay that off. I think Zemo pays it off. I think if that's how the show ends. Is like Sam goes home and his sister's like, yeah, I woke up and everything's paid for. And then Sam like looks up to the sky and then there's like a fucking Turkish delight thrown at him or something.
He turns around, his whole family's eating Turkish delight.
Yeah.
It's like, it's delicious, Sam.
Yeah. But I really do think that the idea that Zemo pays off Sam's debt / everything is probably where that comes from.
Money is
I don't know how
yeah.
I don't know how Sam if I'm a writer and someone's like, yeah, and in the end the villain pays off all of Sam's all the money his family needs, I'd be like, Sam would lose his damn mind. Sam would be like, thanks, Zemo. You'd be like, that's blood money though. Well, I don't know how this works out.
Yeah. I mean, it raises this bigger question, right? Of like, Tony bankrolled the Avengers for so long and now that's gone. So like if you there was a lot of discussion, at least that I saw, around this idea of like, these people wouldn't, like, Sam wouldn't be in debt. He would have movie deals, like he would have appearance fees, all this type of shit, just as an Avenger. But I do think that like in some way they have to find a new backer, right? Like they have to figure out some sense of money. It could be Pepper in the long run. Like Stark Corporation probably still exists to some degree. We haven't really seen what she's been doing, but I really think they set up the fact that Zemo was rich, so at the end of this, they can like wipe the debt clean for Sam.
What? I get what he was gone though for 5 years, right? So I don't know. I imagine a lot of people were like, they're dead. I'm so glad they're dealing with this in this series, because it's always been like, if you're gone for 5 years, you no longer, they wipe you clean from every record. You don't have a bank account. Like so coming back to nothing. Like I can see how, you could be a superhero and come back and be like, I only have my suit. Like I need to stay at the base because I got nothing. I can see it.
Well, the Avengers facility still no, it got fucking destroyed.
Got blown up?
Yeah. He straight up.
They don't have anything to come back to, and all of the structures that like were in place. I mean, for all we know, like we didn't really get a post scene with Pepper seeing how she coped, because like there's the entire thing of Endgame was her kind of being like, let it be somebody else, like not you. Like, why does it always you? Like, just raise your daughter. Like, so for all we know, she might right now hate the Avengers. She might be like, you people are the reason my husband is dead. He's always freaking dying for you. Like, we saw her as rescue, but like, we don't know. Like, grief does crazy things to a person. So if grief can make Wanda do those inhumane things, what's so crazy to think Pepper might be like, I'm not funding the Avengers. I don't like the Avengers. I don't want to fund the Avengers, because we've never really seen how she's coped with losing, like, the love of her life. We haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Have we?
No, not really.
I mean, there is the second Spider-Man movie, so we kind of have some idea because Happy's around.
But does he ever talk about Pepper? Like Happy's doing his own thing.
But there's still some money. There's still like something there where if Happy's
it's what Tony left.
Tony left that for Peter.
Kid. Yeah. It's not what Pepper left the kid. It's what Tony left the kid.
Interesting. You're right. Pepper's kind of out of it.
She doesn't even follow up, really.
I do wonder if we'll see her again in like Armor Wars, or if from a like outside of the MCU, if Disney's going to be like, all right, Gwyneth Paltrow, like you're stop, like you're a little off the deep end. Like
goop
your
wars.
Fucking goop shit needs to stay and they just like move on. But I think there was some sort of conversation that like they're gonna do. Oh, it's because they have a show called Ironheart, right? So like, Ironheart will exist, whether that's gonna be Riri or if that's gonna be like Iron Man's daughter, or like who that's going to be remains to be seen. But I don't know if we're done with Pepper yet. But she could definitely bankroll the Avengers or superheroes at large, because I feel like for at least the next year or two, like the Avengers don't really exist, right? Like there's no there's no world-ending threat that people are aware of yet. I don't know if we're gonna like get any introduction into that till probably Ant-Man with Kang, because the guy from Lovecraft Country is gonna be there playing Kang, which is very exciting because he was very good in it. But yeah,
That's gonna be great.
yeah, he'll kill it.
I'm excited for that. I can't wait to see what
kill
they do
it.
with that. I didn't
love
know
that.
that.
Yeah. But there's not going to be like a big bad for quite some time, which will be interesting. But regardless, 2 episodes left in Falcon. Where are we ending? Where do you think this? If the next episode is 60 minutes, do you think the next episode ends with like Sam finally being, all right, I'm taking the shield. I'm going to do this. This is my shield. Or do you think that's how the show ends? And we get kind of like the WandaVision catalyst of Wanda becoming Scarlet Witch, and now Sam's becoming Captain America.
I think it's like spoiler territory. I'm not sure, but in the trailers,
okay,
there's a shot of I think it's Sam throwing the shield.
Yep,
We've
in the
never
woods.
seen that.
It looks like he's back
We've
in
never
Louisiana.
seen that.
Yeah,
yeah. So either that's the final episode, and he gets back right at the end, and that's him practicing at the end with the shield. But that's clearly a shot that we have not seen so far. Which means at some point the man gets the shield.
Yeah.
I would have to imagine.
Well, if Walker is getting like arrested, they could take the shield from him in this next episode, and like maybe things normalize and Sam goes back. Because I guess they're still chasing Carly, right? So they like that thread is essentially still there. So they can't like go back home. It also could be a fake scene. Marvel's done that before.
They did that a lot. They do that a lot with their movie trailers, where the scene will be in the trailer, but it's not in the movie.
Yeah,
you're right.
I wonder if I
wonder if Zemo's going to be in the next 2 episodes at all, or the next episode at least. Like if he vanishes, do we follow his character, or does he become a mystery and then show up in the last episode?
I think he probably.
I feel like
he's probably going Madripoor, right? Like that's where he's got to go.
But I feel like his character he doesn't need to be there anymore, because now it's like super soldiers fighting the show, right? You have the Carly super soldiers and the Walker super soldier, and then Bucky super soldier. And I don't know that he's in the next episode at all. I have no clue.
Yeah.
I feel like he'll still be in Madripoor just because I think they spent time on those sets.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We're going back.
Which is why they keep cutting to like that almost like B-roll footage of just like what's her face? Sharon.
Yeah.
Just being on the phone, like walking through the streets, like where it doesn't
walking
even
through
like,
barricades, which is just
she could be in her house and take that call, right? But we've seen her like yeah, I'll see what I can do. I might have access to some satellites. I'm like, where are you going? Are you going to get a manicure? Where are you walking? What exactly are you doing?
At that time of night?
I think it's alluding to something happening over there. Like she's up to her own machinations because she's not like chilling in her house drinking a mojito being like, yeah, I got you. Like, and we've seen how nice her flat is. She's like up to something.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we are going to go back to Madripoor at some point.
It could be next episode. I mean, if Zemo, I think for a lot of people is the star attraction at this point. And so for him to just disappear for the next 2 episodes makes sense in the idea that the show is called Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but doesn't make sense in the fact that like people have really latched on to him.
Sure.
So I guess we'll just have to see. We did have that, was it a phone call or a text that Carly received from the power broker that said like, hey, I want those serums back. I'm going to kill you or something like that.
Pretty much every text they get is like, I'm coming to kill you.
Yeah.
The power broker.
Yeah. It sounds
like, why is the power broker such a texter? Like, just follow through on it. My dude, can you imagine him like sitting there being angry? Like,
yeah. Can you imagine Ross texting
day?
if it's really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you do an emoji? You know, like
should I do 2 emojis or 3? 2 or 3?
3
should
is
I
more
add
aggressive.
A knife to let her know that I'm gonna stab her repeatedly? Should I?
Oh man.
Frowny emoji.
Oh, Delaroth with the 3000 IQ idea. He's the AI guy from Winter Soldier. He's the scientist that was in the shield
I'm in
facility.
the computer.
Yeah.
The computer box, it's me.
He could be the power broker. Yeah, Zola.
I love
Zola.
that actor. I love that character. I think that'd be hilarious if he's like, I am in a 1970s computer. You can't defeat me. That would be amazing. If he just is always in the show, like,
Armin Zola.
all of these terabytes are at my command. Soon you shall be too, Bucky. Yeah. Oh wait, no. He'd say, Mr. Bonds. Yeah. I love that character. That character actor is one of my favorites. I love him.
Man,
and
that would
everything
be
he's in.
interesting.
I love that guy.
Now I don't know if I want Ross to be the power broker or if I want Zola to be the power broker. It would make sense why he fucking texts people, right?
He doesn't have a physical manifestation.
That's what I'm saying.
That'd be interesting. That'd be interesting.
And that is how you could broker power, by just like having access to the
Info.
I exist on the interweb.
Yeah, I have the information.
There is like a weird Hydra undertone that we aren't at. Like, they keep hinting at it, but we've never truly gotten there yet.
Oh, that's true. That's how you would reintroduce Hydra into the MCU. Because
keep talking about it.
Everyone, like, Hydra ended in Winter Soldier, right? That was the end of it?
No. I think before that. Right?
No, well, I mean, definitely 100% at the end of Winter Soldier, Hydra was
Civil
like,
War, maybe? Because
it's
that's
when they
what
brought
Zemo hates. So,
no, Civil War was the like fallout and reaction, and Zemo was the bad guy who was going to take them down, but he wasn't Hydra.
Right, right. He
Hydra
hates
ended when Hydra was Shield. That was Winter Soldier.
Right.
They destroyed Shield, and that's when they all went on the run. That's when like this Black Widow movie takes place. Is after that. So like that's when Hydra was destroyed. But clearly Hydra's still around because there's even in Civil War there was like some Hydra stuff at the beginning. So
you know what? They've kind of been foreshadowing Hydra throughout this entire show, because
that's what I'm saying.
Now my hopeful heart always says X-Men, but they went on an entire tangent in this episode about supremacy. Zemo goes on this entire talk about how the reason he hates the super soldier serum is he loathes supremacy in all its forms, including Hitler, the Nazi regime. And he not indirectly implying Hydra there as well? Because Hydra also represents supremacy. So I was over here like, like mutant supremacy, maybe. And then I'm like, no, shut up, Bronze. It's not gonna.
There was a comment that I read where someone was like, "Yeah, we're gonna have Zemo introduce Magneto." Zemo's just gonna hate Magneto because he wants mutant supremacy. But anyway, sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
No, but that's what I was thinking too. It's like, maybe this could be like, a hint towards a hatred of like mutants or Inhumans as well. But it also, like, is he not talking about Hydra in that scene where he's talking about how he loathes supremacy in all its forms?
I mean, he definitely hates Hydra 100%, right? Like, Zola's two things are destroying super serum, destroying Hydra. He destroyed all but one super serum. So I guess that task is done. So maybe Hydra's next. I don't know. I guess if you think about it, like, Zemo's goal now would be to kill Walker and kill Carly and the other 4 or 5 super soldiers that exist on the Flag Smashers, and that's it. Right? Like, he doesn't have any other big goals. So
yeah. Man, that whole scene was so frustrating to me. I'm not gonna lie.
Which one?
The whole bit with like where they're right when they're having that discussion or right before, Sam is like, well, he pulls like a whole Thanos did nothing wrong for like a split second where he's like, a lot of people benefited from it. I was like, this was a conversation people were having at the beginning of the pandemic where they were like, well, only 1% of people are going to die. I was like, and one of the things I realized with Carly that was like upsetting me, which is why for me it's hard to sympathize with her, is that she says like she didn't really have a mom until Doma or Donna.
Yeah, I forgot her name.
Mama Donna or whatever. She says like she never really had that connection. So her inability to acknowledge like that she benefited disproportionately from that because she didn't lose anyone. It's like there are people right now, if you were to ask them, would you rather have a great job and a house or would you rather have your family? A lot of us would rather have our family and be on the street than be in a nice house with a nice job and not have them. She doesn't have that context because she never had that family. So that conversation with Sam, like talking about like, because there's like they're kind of talking about like this like it was a natural occurrence, and now it's been abnormally correct. I'm like, no, Thanos caused like half the world to stop existing. Why? We should never defend that. Like you guys sitting here saying like, well, a lot of people did benefit. I'm like, from half the world's population, which was logically like made no sense because it's like, okay, there's like elephants are already endangered. Half of them are gone now. Why, Thanos? What did the elephants do to you?
They were eating too much grass, you know?
Like, like there's only a few rhinos left. He snapped half of those away too. How many, species no longer have a population that can sustain itself? Have we sat and had these conversations yet?
There's a lot of the people who are like, Thanos was right. Bronze is on the money with this one. Literally half the like animals that the 3 point whatever billion that are still around would have to eat are gone. Birds gone, fish gone. Like it's not a great scenario for a lot of people.
With Groot definitely got snapped, right?
Oh yeah.
He was the only remaining Planet X citizen, right? Like there was no other
that we know of.
Yeah, is there Groot too?
Bah, bah, bah.
Is there Grout or something?
Grout, his twin sister Grout.
Yeah.
Grout.
Who's the? There's got to be another one, right? If he disappeared,
I am Grout. Yeah.
She lives in showers.
It's true. It's true. That's where she's at. She is just a shower tile. That's all she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the worst. That's the worst kind of like. What are you? Oh, I'm a shower tile.
Look, James Gunn could do it. He could pull it off. If anyone could pull that off, it'd be James.
It's a terrible, terrible character. One of the worst created Marvel characters, Grout.
Oh god.
That's just like a really gross tile. That's me with like a smiley face.
Yeah, James Gunn can do it. He'll get Sean Gunn to mocap it. It'll be great.
Grout played by Sean Gunn it works.
It'd be good. Yeah. Who's the voice though? Vin Diesel's Groot. Who's Grout?
Vin Diesel's Groot.
Do we get the Rock?
Rodriguez.
Is it the? Oh, there you go.
Disney wouldn't take Michelle Rodriguez back. They wouldn't do that. It has to be. You know who Grout is? What is her name? The woman who was in Knives Out. The actress who is like becoming very popular right now. The young girl, I can't remember her name, but she's like, she's in the new Bond movie.
Ana de Armas or Anna de Armas?
Yes,
yeah,
that's who it is. Got to find that big name, and she just has like this very nice accent, and she's like very bubbly, but also a tile that's slimy. The end.
She's great. She was in Blade Runner. Fantastic.
She's in a lot of movies. She's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am so bad at knowing people's names, honestly.
Oh, well. That's episode 4. I don't know where we're going. Episode 5. Okay, here's our bold predictions. Who gets the shield and what episode is it? Who ends up with the shield and what episode is it? Any strong feelings?
Sam gets the shield because he's not a super soldier.
Okay.
And he gets it during the last episode.
Okay. I'm going to go with Sam gets it at the end of the next episode.
That's what I'm thinking too. And he has it for all of episode 6. That's also my prediction. I don't think they would go on this whole tirade about how the like serum is not what makes the soldier, only for Winter Soldier to get it. I personally would love for Bucky to have it, but I think that would fly in the face of this message they've been trying to plant. So I think it's going to be Sam.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like as the big cliffhanger or whatever at the end of 5 where he picks it up And then I think he's going to have it for all of 6. That's my thought process, but I don't know.
I think it would be cool if they like share the shield between Bucky and Sam, and they like
a cool tag team.
Yeah, like
where they fight and they toss it to each other.
It becomes Marvel Ultimate Alliance where they're like fucking tossing it between one another. Like that would be really sick to see. And then at the end, Bucky's like, "Hey, you deserve this. Like Cap wanted you to have it. You're a good man. I'm too fucked up. I'm gonna go eat some Turkish delight with Zemo. You have a good day."
It's irresistible.
It's irresistible.
Oh, that's where Zemo is. I figured it out.
What?
Zemo 100% has to connect. No, well, first off, obviously he needs more Turkish delight. But while he's doing all that, it 100% has to go back to, like, in order to get Bucky, he has to go back to that old man from the first episode.
Oh, Isaiah?
Like he knows who he is. That has to have a payoff.
Well,
the fact that like that's what tortures him, and now Zemo knows who that guy is, and there definitely has to be a payoff there, right? There has to be.
The potential payoff is that Isaiah's kid is a young Avenger named Patriot, I believe. Is where a lot of people think that's going to go. But that seems like, I agree with you in the sense that him just being introduced for like the big reveal that like Cap wasn't the only one.
Oh no, I'm talking about the old Asian man at the beginning.
Okay. I thought you were talking about Isaiah. Gotcha. Yeah.
No, I mean that I think is them dropping like, we're aware. Here's some like fun Marvels, but I don't think they're going to follow that in this series. But I feel like for Bucky's character to have the trauma of like trying to establish a friendship with the dad of the kid he killed, I think now that Zemo knows who that is, that has to have a payoff, right? That has to be like Zemo's last gotcha, Bucky. Like there's got to be a moment.
Yeah,
there has to be.
Yeah, he definitely read that journal and like knows. So
yeah. He said it. He's like, "Who is this guy here?"
Yeah.
Right? I don't know why that's his voice. Oh, it's me.
You're still in Zola. You're still in Zola. Zola.
What do you mean, Steve Rogers?
Oh my god!
I love that guy. So good.
Second question, and then we'll wrap. Do you think he adopts the moniker or the name U.S. Agent at some point during the next 2 episodes, or does he try to like keep on? Like, is he dead as Captain America? Is he no longer Captain America and never wears the suit again after this?
I think that's a post-credit thing, right? Like that would be the secret reveal, like if he gets captured or he's like taken away, and then someone shows up. Maybe even Thunderbolt Ross is just like, I need a U.S. agent. Like, I don't know. I have no idea how they're doing it.
Please don't do it. That's like Suicide Squad bullshit.
What is this? Some kind of Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, that's what the 2 characters we have right now in this series, Zemo and U.S. Agent, are kind of that. There's multiple times in Marvel where they're like, Zemo, I need you to form a squad of bad guys for an elite mission that you'll probably all die. It happens. It is part of what it is. I don't know how we avoid it. You're like, I don't think we should have this. That's what these 2 characters do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we're going down that path.
Someone in chat says, I think Walker gets killed off. I don't really know what Walker's goal would be at this point. Like, I don't know what from a character arc perspective, I don't know what he exists to do. Apart from just being a super soldier, which he got, right? And at this point, maybe he's just going to realize that doesn't mean anything. I don't know. I hope they don't try to turn him into a good guy, though. I hope he stays kind of this gray bad guy.
Okay, so like, here's the thing. Do you remember that scene of the actor getting leaked when this show was filming, and he's in like full, like he's in his dress regalia with like his arm in a sling?
Yes.
There was like a leaked photo like back in January. Let me see if I can find a link where he was in like his dress regalia. We haven't seen him in that. And we haven't seen him with a broken arm. So I don't know what that has to do with anything, but it makes me feel like maybe he doesn't die, because I can't imagine the US government wanting. I think they're probably happy he's got the super soldier serum, because now they finally have.
Yeah, but they can't have him be public. Like he can't be the public image anymore.
Because he like decapitated someone in public.
He did bad.
But it makes me wonder like what that scene is going to be used for, or if it was cut, because there's like this whole that was like the first leaked image. So this is just like Pepe Sylviaing with the murder board with threads on it. But I wonder if like he survives or he gets put under Ross's wing, or like something like that.
They could do a if we got the flashback scene in episode 4 with Bucky, they could do a flashback scene in the start of episode 5 with Walker coming back from Afghanistan, because he said we lost like they made like allusions to something happened to his team and why he got those like 3 medals of honor. That could be where that's at. Like we don't really know what happened, so maybe they try to like maybe they fuck with the viewers and be like, he's not really a bad guy, he's just in a bad circumstance type deal. I don't know.
Make us feel bad for him right before something terrible happens to him.
Yeah. Like they'll do that flashback and then like fade into him standing over a decapitated person that he did with the shield. So I don't know. I hope we get like an in-scene reaction to that, and it's not just like a 2 days later type deal. I really want to see like how Bucky and Sam respond to that in the moment. In the sense of like what they do right after. Like, do they just go and tackle him, or like what happens? Right? Because
we only saw their horror where they're like, "What?"
They're like, "What the fuck?" and that's it.
I think you're right, JP. I feel like a good cold open to the next episode is the valor of Walker. Like the opening is like him being this valorous war hero and in his like dress garb, and then cut to a decapitated dude. I feel like it's like a really great way to open the episode. So that could be exactly what that is.
We'll see. Anyways, I think the running joke with the show is going to be, we're going to stick to an hour because we're at 2 hours and 15 minutes now. But,
there was a lot to say.
Yeah. We spent 30 minutes on rumors and then an hour and a half on episode 4. But it's okay.
That's just more content for you, the viewers. So don't forget to leave a positive review on our podcast, as well as a comment and a thumbs up on the YouTube videos. This is so much bang for your buck. Double the content at free $99.
I like the
Hair Hydra.
No, you can't say that, Jesse. Not in this climate.
What do you mean?
Jesse, I would be Hydra? No, I wouldn't.
You are definitely Hydra now.
Me?
Everyone is.
Jesus Christ.
Where one falls. Yeah, whatever.
All right. Jesse, continue.
You would be the voice in the computer. That would be you.
Oh, yeah. I'd be a great computer. I've always said I'd be a fantastic computer. Yeah.
Jesse, please continue your shout outs as Zola.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My secret plan to blow up this building. There's a missile already on the way. I don't know how he planned. Like, how did he get missiles? How'd that 1970s computer get access to missiles? A lot of questions about that, but I guess it was Hydra. Anyway, hey, all my information's on the screen. If you want to find out more, just Jesse Cox on the internet. You'll find all sorts of stuff. Don't type in Jesse Cox Hydra. I don't want to know if there's actually, like, some dudes out there like, I don't think he's joking. Here are 72 reasons why Jesse Cox is actually Hydra. I don't know. What if I am? What if I secretly am? Hell, Hydra. What?
Jesse Cox Hydra prompts a tweet from 2016 that says Hydra's U.S. government sleepers were captured after the events of Winter Soldier. This is a typical Hydra strawman argument. Then you respond and say, you seem awfully willing to call everyone else Hydra, making me think you're the Red Skull. So it's on brand. Yeah. It's on brand.
All I'm saying is, who's to say who Hydra is or isn't? Bronze, red shirt, Red Skull.
Also, for some reason, a Liquipedia Heroes of the Storm item pops up for the Stellar Lotus when you Google Jesse Cox Hydra. We need to work on your Jesse Cox Hydra SEO.
You really don't. I don't ever want to be associated with ultra Nazis. I'm good. I'm good on passing that one up.
Hard
totally
pass
fine
on
with
the
it.
Maybe I was gonna suggest that we get a little Zola Jesse art, but no, I think we're good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Let's not do that.
I'm fine. Yeah,
Probably
okay.
a good pass. Bronze, do some shout outs for us.
Hi, hello. I'm ThatBronzeGirl. You can find me on Twitch 6 days a week at ThatBronzeGirl and on Twitter at the same handle. I have a D&D game I run Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The last episode of it just went up on YouTube. You can check these things out. I am also not Hydra.
Hell, Hydra.
Yeah, that's very believable there. Thanks for watching the MCU Crew. If you're new or you've never seen the show before, it's because it's brand new. This is episode 2. VODs will be up on youtube.com/itmeJP later today. And then if you want to grab it as a podcast, you can do so on any and all the services. I think Google Music or Google Podcast is still verifying, but we're up on Spotify and iTunes and all that stuff. So feel free to go and grab it. Later today, I think I'm going to be streaming right after this, probably playing some Dota. I'm not 100% certain. And I think we're going to be doing We Watch Things later today at 6 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, jumping into the Final Fantasy 14 5.5 patch. That was Jesse. He's also going to be jumping into that.
I'm so excited!
He's very excited, as you could tell. That's also Zola, believe it or not. I just have a soundboard
I'm
over
very excited!
here. Wednesday, we'll do Drop Frames. Thursday, it's PoE Prep Day. And then Friday, it's PoE New League Day. So, busy week for me, but we'll be back next Monday with another MCU Crew. The following Monday, though, all 3 of us are going to be in Texas on the 26th. So there will not be a show, or maybe there will be a show. We could. I don't know. I don't
make that promise.
I'm not gonna do that.
That's gonna be a hard Monday, my man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
That's gonna be a rough one.
I'm not gonna do that. But there will not be a show on the 26th. Oh wait, is that the final episode? Oh fuck, that will be the final episode. Maybe we do a show on like that Thursday or something, or we could just skip a week. Because they'll do the making of on the 30th.
Drunk from your wedding. Why are you thinking about this? JP, why are you considering it?
I'm just seeing the subs rise right now. I don't know.
JP, what if we just broadcasting live from a corner in the middle of Texas?
We are. There's already a potential for it.
This is a joke. Don't do this.
It's not going to happen, though. It's not going to happen.
Don't do this.
Anyways, we're out of here. Thanks for watching the MCU Crew. We could discuss the final episode and the making of on the 30th. No, it'll be the 3rd. So we'll skip the 26th and we'll be back 3rd. We'll talk about it next week after we've had a week or so to discuss it. Thank you both for joining me. We'll be back next week for another MCU Crew. We'll discuss episode 5 and whatever else the hell's going on in the MCU. We're out for now, though. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.